Well, hello everybody and welcome to the 379th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host Steve Wellings and joining me on the call we have Andy Patterson and Ozzy Smith. Let's catch straight up with the boys, straight off the bat, shall we? See how they're getting on. How are you, Andy, first of all? Had a good week?
I suppose so, mate. I was buggered yesterday, lack of sleep and stuff, so I managed to catch up with that. All good, couple of fights, I suppose, couple of games of football. But just kind of looking forward to kind of things getting back to we're getting there, I suppose, but just want to get back to full normality, really. Go away on holiday, I might go up to the north of Scotland, nice wee beach up in the northeast there that I know of. Get a caravan booked and stuff. Maybe live the gypsy lifestyle for a week or two. Who knows? But whatever I'll do, I'll be enjoying it.
Absolutely, Andy. Living the gypsy lifestyle like a fighting man. Just to remind you all, forgot at the top of the show, we go live on YouTube, 8 o'clock every Sunday evening. The Patreon RSS feed updates shortly after the show concludes. You can listen to us during the week on Soundcloud, Apple Podcasts, as it's called these days, as I was recently reminded, and Spotify as well. And don't forget to leave a review on the podcast player of your choice. We haven't had a few reviews in a while to read out throughout the entire month of June. Nothing less than 5 stars is acceptable. Yes, Boxing's First in the chat. Give the video a thumbs up as well, or a thumbs down if you think we're shit. No problem at all. Boxing First is there. Mike Wigginer, Curly Watts, just over 17,000 in the chat at the moment. Marked improvement from last week. Tom Davis, Last King of Scotland, Lee the Alcoholic Frotch, Mark Boxio, Eggy Phil, just picking out the ones I can see here. Take Ames is there. Charles Lindner, John Fagan, John Wayne, Paul Raftery. Who else we got here? Matthew Russell is always in the chat with us as well. Tosh Bear Grills, Malone. Ozzy Smith, of course, is knocking about as well. Ozzy, how are you? How's this week been for you?
Yeah, pretty steady, mate. Pretty steady. I feel like a broken record, constantly on repeat. Every time you ask this question, things are getting better. We are getting more back to normal. Next, I think it's Saturday, is another big step in the right direction for England in particular. And we keep on going. Boxing's back. Obviously, Edwards announced his set of fights. It's well underway in Mexico, the US, with Bob Arum. So, yeah, we are getting back to some normality. What about you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm keeping well. Still plugging on there. We've got the super featherweights coming up later. I know Chuck Crew's in the chat. He says, check out my 130 tournament. Was a good tournament, but as Ozzy will attest, Marcus Bellinger threw one in a few weeks back, which we will be going off tonight. You're looking forward to the 130 tournament, Oz?
Yes, yeah, it should be a good one. Very, very good list. So some difficult decisions that are going to have to be made in this, that's for sure.
Yep, certainly will. Take Ames. When is Jason going to jump on the call? He's welcome any time to jump on with us whenever he takes an interest. Pavers here, Boxing Channel. Curly Watts, Teddy Boy 94, Adam Saunders, Michael Angelo Quinones. Ooh, getting a bit exotic here for a Sunday evening. Stacey King as well. Okay, let's move on. Have a look at the fights. I'll give you a pick and choose. Andy, you can go whatever you want to. Ryan Martin getting a 6th round retirement win over Carlos Winston Velasquez. You might remember Martin losing to Josh Taylor. I think he was a bit insipid that night, wasn't it? It wasn't the greatest performance from Martin, who I thought was pretty talented. That was the 27th of June. Miguel Bichelt, it didn't seem to have been sanctioned here. No commission present over in Mexico due to COVID-19 restrictions. Mexico City's professional sport is still halted by the local government, according to BoxRec, but Bob Arum did a card over there anyway. The Maloney brothers were in action during the week as well. Jason Maloney getting a 7th round retirement victory over Leonardo Baez. Abraham Nova beating Avery Sparrow. Andrew Maloney losing, a bit of an upset there to Joshua Franco. Christopher Diaz beating Jason Sanchez. Maybe some more, Andy, that you've got on the list. Gabriel Flores, don't know if we mentioned him. Wasn't the greatest performance against Jose Ruiz, but I did enjoy David Kaminsky against Clay Collard. You can talk about all of that, none of it, or some of it, Andy.
Yeah, I know you did a bit about Clay Collard and that, mate. I didn't catch it a fight. I was absolutely shocked at the Andrew Maloney result, though, against Joshua Franco. Very, very tough fight. Maloney I just don't think he had the pop to try and turn the fight on its head when he really needed it, actually, because I think in the end, when you look at his face and stuff, and then if you look at what Ben Damon was saying from Australia, he's like a big commentator and boxing over there, like Fox Sports and stuff. He was saying that Maloney ended up with 2 perforated eardrums, a broken nose, stitches inside the mouth, plus 1 over the eye. He still finished the fight. So yeah, very, very tough performance, but in the end, just purely outgunned. His brother had a better performance, actually. Both kind of like his fights, kind of similar styles, but just Jason finally like an award in by us in the end. Burchell, he looked like he put a bit of a beating on that kid actually. Forget his name at the minute, but I don't even know if that will go down as official result because of the non-commission result. But I dare say it will get ratified at some point. Disappointment as well, mate. As well, Branchek against Zepeda.
Yeah,
Called off. That's a bit of a pisser.
a few of the more decent fights that Bob has got on the schedule have disappeared. I know that Le Pierre was supposed to fight somebody whose name is completely, I think was it Jose Pedraza maybe? And I'm not saying Le Pierre is the greatest fighter in the world, but I was looking forward to that. I was definitely looking forward to Baranchik fight. So I suppose that's just the nature of the beast at the moment.
Yeah. I tell you, I found something real interesting actually. I don't know if it was the Jason Maloney card, but there was a fighter on there, Orlando Gonzalez against Orlando Gonzalez Ruiz over Luis Porozo. Some idiot put down like almost $200,000 on that fight. So bet on it just to win $14,000 or $15,000 back. That's just insane. So the dude needs to relax a little bit, you know. I know the bookies just opened up and the MGM Grands opened back up now, but come on, mate, just chill, you know, smoke a joint.
Yeah, Zepeda's Branchik has been iced. Alvarez against Joe Smith as well. Andy's been axed as well. That could have been pretty decent because Smith, to be fair, despite his limitations, always brings it.
I think we mentioned that fight in the chat just the other night there, actually. You know, it was a good chance that fight would have probably ended up by somebody getting knocked out. Probably Joe Smith, maybe. But kid's always in decent fights, honest pro. And Alvarez is always kind of like in and around about kind of contention and stuff. So, yeah, it's just a bit of a pisser, actually.
Anything else took your interest?
Well, obviously, we've got Eddie Hearn's cards been mentioned. I'll let Ozzy maybe kind of segue into it if he wants to mention it. But I actually didn't realise until I seen somebody comment that he's actually had the cheek to put one of them on pay-per-view, which in these times, come on, Eddie. I mean, fucking hell, pay-per-view. I don't even think Bob Arm would want to put fights pay-per-view at this point in time, but no, Eddie's wanting to be the trailblazer, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yes, after we've had our first guest on around the 25 past 8 mark, I'm going to bring up all four of Eddie's cards and we should go through them in minute detail. I think, Ozzy, anything that you've seen over the last few days, let me know. I know you, like me, you haven't seen the Miguel Bichelt fight, but apparently they're talking about putting Bichelt in with Oscar Valdez now, which seems like a bit of loser gets out of town maybe. Bob's he's seen Valdez's limitations, possibly. I'd say Bichelt maybe has further to go.
Yeah, interesting. Would definitely welcome that. It amused me actually that every result on that Mexican card is just down as a no contest, and it says in the notes that boxing is basically banned in Mexico because of the virus. But then they somehow managed to get a show on, get everybody in the ring, and then essentially just the results are null and void. I haven't seen that. Again, it was against some absolute no mark. However, I'll happily accept these no-mark fights if your next one's going to be against like an Oscar Valdez. Yeah, Valdez may have his limitations, but what a fight that'll be. Bichelt Valdez is certainly not. It's certainly going to be one for the neutral, and it could be an absolute tear-up. I saw bits of the Maloney, both Maloney fights. Agree with Andy. Really shocked at the Joshua Franco upset. But Andy did say, I'll give him credit for this, that pre on the call last week, he looked at Franco's record, did a bit of research and said that it could well be a difficult fight for Maloney. However, he did expect the champion to come out and win. Maloney took a right beating, didn't he? I think was it a couple of perforated eardrums, broken nose.
Took his lumps, to be fair, didn't he?
Oh, you should see the picture of mate. But he put a picture out. He's not as bad as John Murray post Rios, but it's like something along those lines. Both black eyes as well, like.
Yeah. So he's obviously he's had a bit of time out. He's certainly got to have some time out of the ring now. Rest up, recover, go back to the drawing board. No doubt the rematch is definitely going to be made. But I think the key is don't rush into it. You can see, you immediately rush back into these rematches and it doesn't always work out. It's key to rest up, get yourself fit, because recovering from, like perforated eardrums, broken bones and things like that, it does take time. Like I said, we said at the top, it's slowly starting to come back boxing. More shows are being announced. Real killer about the Zepeda Baranchik fight. We give it the kiss of death last week. said it's probably one of the best fights being made, and it falls through, which is just typical. But they are hopeful that they can reschedule it for the end of July, which isn't the worst. So if we can see that and it's just delayed by, a month, then it's certainly something to look forward to at the end of the month.
Yes, we shall look forward to that. We're trying to work out when one of the fights has been rescheduled for. I can't remember if it's the 7th of July or the 14th of July, but we'll no doubt find out. A question for Andy coming in here from Joe Kennedy, friend of the pod, over on patreon.com/Boxing Asylum. Joe, Andy says, looks like Jason Maloney will be fed to Naoya Inoue next. Would you give him any chance against the monster?
No, so I was talking about, so I was on mute. No, absolutely not. No way. I mean, he's a decent fighter, Maloney, but he's a level. Well, I said maybe 2 levels below Inoue at this point. Who, as I says, I mean, what he's been doing in the last year, 18 months, 2 years, that just blast everybody away, and that says Jason's just like Andrew. He hasn't got the power. Good operator, I must admit. He could be a slow starter, but you need that power, man. You're gonna have to use something. You need something to outgun Inoue, and end of the day, he could last a distance. He could take a beating. You just don't know. But to detriment his career and stuff like that, yeah, man, he would at some point. We need to yield at some point, I think, or a mercy stoppage at some point. I would say that he would last less than 7 rounds.
There you go, Joe. Not much hope. I said it myself. I don't think he would last too long, but he would. I think the Maloneys are tough, but I don't really rate them skill-wise. They will give their all, but Inoue is a different beast. Although you never know, after that Donaire fight, it might have taken a little bit out of him. Who knows? Okay, Ozzy, question for you coming in from Holt. I don't know if it's so much a question as a comment. He's bringing up the ghost of Joe Gallagher. I haven't been hearing much from Joe lately, unfortunately. He will maybe be turning up in a corner near you soon with the Matchroom back garden show coming on. Holt says, I don't know why Gallagher always, his fighters don the earmuffs and just go head hunting. It always falls short at world level naturally. Gallagher always being in the corner to Murray in his final fight with Crawler stings bad. So he's talking about Joe Gallagher in general and the stylistic thing. Why does it? I mean, we obviously know the main one. We all saw it was Quig being unable to adapt at any point against Frampton, just marching forward. Why do they always go for the earmuffs in fights, maybe?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we've seen it adapted quite a bit. It's somewhat a relatively slow start, and then they look to, work the way into the fight after 6 rounds. I know Liam Smith adopted the same approach against Canelo, work your way into the fight and then look to, try and take over later down the line. Look, it's his style, and it will work to a certain level. And you've got to applaud, he has achieved quite a bit with, the level of fighters that he's had. You have got to applaud that, but one style will only get you so far. And as we say, the fight with Quig and Frampton summed it up. There was just no adaptation. He looked relatively clueless in the ring. I also think he's got a bit of he's got a couple of tendencies from where he refuses to throw in the towel. One for me, a glaring one, was at Quig against John O'Carroll. While Carroll, was not, he's not a big puncher, but Quig was just taking a sustained beating. Another one was Marcus Morrison against Jason Wellborn. Again, it was a sustained beating, and he just refused to throw in the towel. So he's certainly got his limitations as a trainer. However, he has achieved. Look, he's won world titles, so you've got to applaud that.
Thanks very much, Ozzy. Delighted to welcome our first guest of the evening on the call. It's Chris Jenkins. How are you, Chris?
I'm all right, mate. Those things on end.
Not too bad. We're getting through. How's the lockdown been treating you?
It's nice. It's starting to become a little bit of an amount, but I went again to the gym, but the restrictions are a bit tough for me to be able to drive to Cardiff. So at the moment, I'm just locked down in the house. Camera runs in a couple of times a week and trying to do a bag session out the back if the weather's not raining. So
has it been hard to maintain focus mentally as well as physically?
No, not really, because I know what I got. I know what I got inside me, like upstairs, what I want to achieve, and that's to win the British belt outright. But I don't, because I got the children and stuff, and they've been off school. We've just been doing things with them, for nice walks and stuff. So my mind's been enjoying the respite, but at the back of my mind, I want to get back in the gym and just defend these belts.
Absolutely. Frank Warren has announced his first batch of shows. Have you had any word on a return when you can get back in the gym?
Well, it's all to do with the lockdown, isn't it? In Wales, we're a bit behind the English. England and all, some gyms are back open up there, but where we stand, our gym's currently still closed. So we just got to wait really until the government do an announcement yet again.
Absolutely. There's been big talk of a fight with Conor Benn. Do you welcome that fight? Any thoughts on the fact it's not happening yet?
Most definitely. That's the fight I want. When Johnny announced his retirement, there was talks about going for a voluntary again, but the name was brought up, Ben against you, when I said, look, I want to fight Ben. And that's my next fight. That's the person I want to fight next.
What did you think about Johnny retiring?
I was gutted because the first fight we had was probably top fights that's been over last year. But I haven't spoken to him because we keep in touch, even though we punch slumps each other in the ring. He's a family man, I'm a family man, and he was telling me the reasons why. And you can fully understand if you can't commit full time to the gym, he has to work these 12-hour shifts. He loses sponsors. He had to do it, and I wish him well in the future for whatever he does.
Yeah, you obviously punched lumps out of each other beginning of 2019. How big was that win for you at the time?
To be honest with you, I think it would have been August 2018. Wrong, but then I boxed a kid called Ara Foley, I think it was around then, maybe later on. And I got cut. I was going to quit. Hang my gloves up, spoke to Gary about it, and he said, just listen to me now, give yourself 6 to 8 months to a year, you'll have your shot. And when I won it, and they said, and they knew, the emotions just went crazy through me. Me and my wife were both crying because you've had so much ups and downs in the boxing, out of boxing, with friends taking their own lives and stuff. It was really nice just to, we done it.
Yeah, you mentioned the ups and downs. Do you think you've been a bit unlucky at times, especially with cuts?
Most definitely. If you look at my fights that I've actually lost, I lost against Jimenez Brown, where it was a neck-crack fight, and a head clash went in the fourth round where they should have really stopped it. They left to go on to the next round, and then they stopped it. It is what it is. I'm prone to getting cut. People are saying I'm like Ricky Arden because I get cut so much. But when you look at it, I'm getting cut by head clashes, not by punches. So there's nothing I can really do about it, but I'm trying to protect myself a little bit more. Absolutely.
Tell us about the fight in the Falls Park with Paddy Gallagher. Again, it ended and maybe a little bit earlier than it should have done.
Yeah. Well, first of all, what an event it was. Out there, and we got there, and I said, I'm fighting outside that, and he goes, yes, this is a massive thing out here. I was just speechless, but I knew what I had to do. I went out for a round, and he walks onto a jab, and I thought, whoa, I just boxed this guy's head off now. Started doing well, won first, second, and third. Fourth round, then the night clash went in, and I thought, here we go. Went back to the corner. Gary said, "Well, you're cut. Get on with it. You've been cut before." Same again, round 5. He dropped me. I think it was round 6 with a nice body shot. I didn't see it coming. I looked down at Gary and I just laughed at him. Said, "That was a good shot, wasn't it?" And Gary's like, "Oh, concentrate." And I said, "I'm all right." And the 7th was going good, and I'd clash one in again in the 8th, and I knew I won the fight. I knew I was up on points. I thought I'd give it probably another 3 or 4 points. But at the end of the day, I went out there. I defended my belt. I picked up a Commonwealth title. Even though it was stopped in the 9th round, I'm pleased with my performance.
Yeah, you mentioned it being outside. I was there. Thankfully, the weather held up that night. How do you prepare differently for fighting outside? What are the little nuances, that are different from normally fighting inside a leisure centre or whatever?
To me, I didn't really notice as soon as I get in between the ropes, you just change. You could be boxing on the top of the Empire State Building. When in the ring, that's what you used to. So yeah, it was a bit odd, but as soon as the first punch landed, it was all right. But there's one thing, I can look back and show my kids and all that. Like, look at this place I boxed. I think there was like 10,000 people there, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a good night. So tell us about Gary Lockett. You mentioned there training with Gary. How did you find it?
Well, I knew Gary when I was pro. I was going sparring with Gavin Reese back when he was in Chris Gym. I think he was in a different gym. And I was up there, and I was already pro. I was sparring with Gavin Reese, doing rounds, just learning. And he used to tell me then, even though he was wasn't my coach, he used to say, "Look, stop getting involved in a fight. You just box, little things like that." Cut the long story short, I lost against Nerves, and then I needed a change because the team I had around me I weren't confident in. They were arguing between themselves, so I moved to Gary's, and Gary's a wealth of knowledge in outside boxing, and it's the best move I done.
Yeah, Gary's definitely a good guy. Richie Garner's thrown in a question for you. I'm sure you know Richie. He said, tell us about the time you went to his mate for a deep tissue massage.
Richie, yeah, he sent me to say, I had a big ass. Right? It sounds funny, but I don't know what was going on. I couldn't walk. So me being me, I phoned Richie. So I phoned Richie. Said, "Oh, big man, I need to." So he sorted out for me. I went there. He's a gymnastics physiotherapist or whatever he is. He's really high up. Anyway, we get there. I said, "Okay, this looks lovely." So I jumps in the hot tub for 20 minutes. Next thing you know, they said, he gets me on the table, straight in with the elbows, and I think I was kicking and screaming. I wish I took my gum shield to bite on, but within a day later, I was back training full time. So yeah, I'm grateful for Richie for that.
Absolutely. Final few questions for you. Any social media presence, Chris?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Chris Rogan. I got what have I got? I've got a team on page on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. It's a shared account with my wife. I think it's Helen Chris Jenkins. I'm not sure. But yeah, I try keeping busy on social media, but sometimes I'm just too busy with the kids and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Mo Pryor as well. He's done a lot of things for you.
I'll be honest with you, Mo's saved my career. I was people saying he's washed up. I think I took fights where Gary was looking after me then. He was my manager coach. Gary was doing his best, but things were happening, but they weren't happening good. The way he did it too. So then something happened. He got in contact with Mo. Mo had 1 or 2 fighters through Gary at the time, and Mo goes, "I'd love, take Chris on." And just look where we are now. He's not only helped me out now with this pandemic, where as fighters have lost sponsors, etc. He's helped me out financially as well. So I can't thank the man enough. He is really sometimes he's too nice and people take advantage of him, but I'm just ever so grateful. He's just a down to earth guy, and he's doing the best for Welsh box as well, not just for myself, but he's bringing shows to Wales. He's got a number of fighters on the box that's from Wales, and he's keeping them busy.
Yeah, well said, well done. One of our listeners, Sam Chatwin, friend of the pod, sent in a question for you, Chris. He said, "What was it like competing in Prize Fighter, and would you like to see it brought back?"
Oh man, Prize Fighter was 2013. Royal Albert in the York Hall. Yeah, one event. I think I weighed in Eddie Earn's Matchroom HQ, and then we got there to the venue, and I was like, "Whoa, this is historic, isn't it?" We got in there, and I was fighting the favourite, Tony Owen. I was out there and just went at him. And I thought, well, I won that, but it was like the hottest day of the year. I think it was like 30 degrees. So we were out the back, and I was having ice put all over me. I boxed the second fight then against a strong fella. I can't remember his name now. Then I stopped the guy in the final, and I was like, "Whoa, I've arrived!" But it's like I said, I arrived then, and then I kind of went to the British and this and that, and then disappeared and back again now. So this is kind of what you can say my final chapter. But that's always going to be my memory. I think I'm the third Welshman to win the prize fight as well, so a great honour as well.
Yeah, absolutely, great achievement. So when the crowds are back, then is the dream to maybe co-headline with Liam Williams, get a fight back in Wales?
Most definitely. We sing with Frank, myself. I think there's a number of fighters then that could possibly come on the show. But Liam Williams is verging onto a world title now, and I think he can do it. You've also got the likes of Jay Harris as well. He just fought for a world title as well. So the talent in Wales, like, I know my level. I'm British, European level. I'm not going to win a world title. I'm an honest man, and I'm a man who lives by the truth. But you've got Liam Williams would be fantastic to go to the same card as him. I wouldn't say co-headline. I think he'd be the headline, and I'll be the one underneath. But I bet now it'd be a great honour to fight in the same card as him. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the guys from the chat has thrown in a question for you. He said, what about the future for Joe Cordina, a fellow Welshman?
To be honest, he's doing everything he has to do, isn't he? He's won British, he's won some intercontinental titles, he's undefeated, he's moved down a weight now, so really it's all up to him. He's got a great stable. He's in with Tony Sims up in the Matchroom. He's signed Ready Earn. He's a talent as well, and he keeps working. I can't see why he can't come world champion either. Well
said. Thanks for joining us, Chris. I do appreciate it, and best of luck going forward now.
No worries at all. Thanks for your time.
All the best, sir. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Chris Jenkins there. Yeah, I was at the fight in Belfast against Paddy Gallagher. I felt sorry for Paddy because he seems to be someone who just can't get a break. But Jenkins himself, sort of in that category as well. I forgot to mention the Liam Taylor fight. There's a lot of TDs along the record there, Aussie, of old Chris Jenkins.
Oh, mate. He said it himself. It's cuts that, ruin. Not necessarily ruin, but they knock you back, don't they? I mean, he boxed that Aussie guy on that MTK show up in Glasgow, that Dara Foley. And he was winning. Look, you're 3 rounds in, but he was, I think, he was well in that fight. And then both, I think it was late in the second, big cut, and that's waved off. Akeem Ennis-Brown, and it's one of them that as soon as it surpasses your 4 rounds, a result's then determined. And I'm not always sure on that rule because, as we say, people warm into fights. It can be very even. It just depends how the judges see it. But no, fingers crossed he gets his opportunity. The Conor Benn fight's a big one for him. I think Ben's style is perfect for Jenkins. If Jenkins sticks to his boxing, the guy can fight. He can box. He's got very good skills, and someone like Ben, who is not the greatest of boxers and likes a bit of a tear up type of thing. I always revert back to do you remember when Bradley Skeet beat Sam Eggington in Birmingham, and it was very much boxer against brawler.
Yeah.
A boxer came out well on top. Skeet made, it was easy for him. And I would see the same going for Jenkins as well. It's obviously not going to happen imminently. The mandatory is not being called. From what I know, basically, Frank Warren and Queensberry want the fight to happen on their terms. So it's obviously going to go to purse bids. And then, look, it's a punt. But they'll want to give Jenkins home advantage. And why not? Look, he's a British champion, so why not back him? Certainly a good fight. Jenkins could maybe headline in Wales if Williams goes off to, America to fight Andrade for the world title. But no, fingers crossed, he finally gets that run of luck that, he somewhat deserves. As you say, hopefully no more cuts and you can get that. I also liked his last comment as well. He's a bit of a realist. He understands that, he's not going to come out and say, I want to win world titles, because he understands that probably it's not his level. But a European title, that's well within his reach.
Yes, certainly is. A few guys in the chat asking where so-and-so is and so-and-so. It's a good question, actually. Hopefully we can stir up a few more members as the weeks go on. Getting a bit thin. Don't know where the Yanks are hanging out these days. Donny's going for office. Hey to Dave off shooting things. Gabe comes in fits and starts. He'll have a few weeks in a row and then he disappears. Yeah, Tommy's got his hands full now in every respect, I suppose. Yeah, come on, boys, join us whenever you get the chance. Andy, question for you flying in from Patreon from our friend Declan Graffin, who sometimes hangs around in the chat. I haven't seen Declan for a while, actually. Hope he's keeping well. He says, in the light of the next rumoured opponent for Terence Crawford, Patrick Teixeira, can Andy discuss what he has got to do in order to get the big fights? I'm one of Crawford's biggest fans and consider him the number one welterweight, but there has been too many Teixeiras for my liking, and re-signing with Top Rank last year seemed a very strange move, all things considered. Everybody knows my views on Crawford, no detriment towards the guy. I think he's a fantastic fighter, but he needs the big fights, Andy, ASAP.
As far as I was aware, that fight wasn't getting made. That was like an offer for Teixeira for Crawford to go up in weight to 154, I think it was. I'm sure Teixeira's got a mandatory defence to make against Castaño, so I don't know how that's going to work out politically. So, as for the re-signing with Bob and that, I mean, yeah, I take the point at this point. I mean, Crawford could probably go up himself and that, but does he really want the hassle at this point? I don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, his business is at 147. This is need to go up to 154. I've got no notion to see it. I want to see Crawford maybe fight like say Pacquiao if possible. Maybe Virgil Ortiz. If I mean, that's one of the Oscars' best fighters, isn't it? At this point, or best prospects. He's got a fake belt. And then we can just wait and see how Spence gets on with his comeback fight. We'll find out pretty quickly if he's off a cliff or if he's kind of like still somewhat kind of relevant to the division. But yeah, if at this point I want to see Crawford stay where he is. To my knowledge, at least that Teixeira fight was an offer. Again, a suggestive offer by Teixeira. If I've missed anything that offer's legit, then I've missed that, unfortunately. But I didn't see Crawford come up to 154 at this point.
Yeah, someone was mentioned that they were trying to line up that Santion at one point, who had a fight recently with... oh, God, I must have early onset of Alzheimer's. Who was it he fought? Antonio DiMarco on one of the recent cards, but by the looks of that guy, I don't think they'll be feeding him anytime soon. Joe Kennedy, Andy, followed that up and said Teixeira's not a bad fighter, was looking forward to the Castaño fight, which I was as well. Would be a fourth title in different weight classes, so I could see the appeal better than Kell Brook anyway. I think it's a shame what's happened to Castaño after he fought Erislandy Lara. I thought that was an excellent technical fight. He seems to have fallen off the radar.
Yeah, another fighter with, well, I suppose a limited window as well because of he's got a big amateur background in that as well. Teixeira's no any younger either, actually, as well. What was his last fight? Carlos something he fought. It was pretty
Adames, wasn't it, I think?
Because Carlos Adames, pretty entertaining fight, I think it was for memory, anyway. As I say, Castaño, in my opinion, I think he had a fight in France. It ended up a draw, some sort. Was it Nandam? I forget who it was at this point. But anyway, he got hosed in the card. So really, technically speaking, he should be a kid who actually should have a world title running about him at the minute.
Sorrow.
Was it Sorrow? Was it one of the WBA trinkets?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate, because he refused to have a rematch until he wanted certain clauses put in place and stuff. And it was something to do with the weight as well, I think. You're pretty right with that one, actually.
Sorry, no, Castaño won in France. I'm just looking now. He beat
he
Sorrow.
won split.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. It was a split decision, right? But anyway, a rematch was meant to happen, and there was some sort of dispute and debate and stuff. And then obviously, who's it he drew with? Was it Lara?
Yep, that was a draw. That was April 2019, I think.
Right. And he's been on the shelf since then, I take
it, yeah. Didn't he fight Wally Armatoso or somebody like that? You know, one of those gatekeeper types recently, I think.
Correct, mate. Yeah, so he boxed him in late November.
There you go.
On the 5th. That was for the vacant, just for a WBO bauble belt. But yeah, the Lara fight where the cards looked fair. I mean, 114.
Yeah.
114, 115 to Lara, and the same card, but in favour of Castaño as well. That'd be a decent rematch, that.
I don't know why they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Better than them both sitting on their hands.
Of course, yeah.
Teixeira was really the fight we wanted to see happen anyway, mate. At 154 and that, I mean, obviously there was fights, you had Harrison against Charlo was the one to look forward to. Lubin's got himself back into contention. Julian Williams got iced off. Was it Rosario, I think it was? Lara's come at the end and stuff. So you were looking for like opponents and fights to happen. Tim Zoo's fighting Jeff Horn, I mentioned that last week. Madrimov making a wee bit of headway. Fowler's got himself ranked at WBO level on the top 15. But as I say, Castaño against Teixeira was one of the fights that we're kind of looking forward to. And obviously at this point as well, Rosario holds probably the upset of the year so far and knockout of the year as well.
We had something coming, Ozzy, just before we bring up guest number 2 from Ryan Deal. I think he's taking the piss here, which I'm not happy about. He said, how many pay-per-view sales does Povetkin versus Dave Allen in Eddie's Garden do? Who's the commercial A-side? He's getting a bit annoyed, I think, Ryan, because he went on to say, also, now the sport is back on, how long will it be until the next Povetkin pay-per-view? Obviously, he never preempted what was going to happen. He's fed up of Povetkin getting pay-per-view slots and Dave Allen getting big title fights as well.
Well...
Big Baby Miller.
We'll talk about that punk after.
What do you think then, Ozzy? What about Povetkin and Big Dave getting it? Dave hasn't got a shot on the Big Garden show yet, has he? I don't think.
No. From what I was told, they were trying to line up Hughie Fury against Allen for the for that white Povetkin card, but apparently Allen's cash demands were just too unrealistic, talking like hefty 6 figures that he wanted, and it was just laughed off, basically, just not doable, particularly with no crowd already, probably an expensive main event to put on. I understand it is on pay-per-view, so no, it's probably one of the first that we won't see Mr. Allen on there. And Alexander Povetkin is wheeled out yet again. Should be the last time, unless he can go and beat Dillian White. Then no doubt we'll definitely see him again, whether it be a rematch or wheeled out for somebody else. But no, there's every chance this may well be the last time we see Povetkin headline a UK pay-per-view.
Yeah, he's not far away from his 41st birthday, old Povetkin. Sean Edwards is looking on. I'll get you on shortly, Sean. I'm going to ring our guest in a minute. Just as I do so, Andy, you come in on the Matchroom fight camp. Just like Frank Warren shows, I think there's some pretty decent fights. There's some shit fights. There's definitely stuff I'm looking forward to. Saturday, the 1st of August, you can start by riffing on the very first card. We'll go through them in order. Sam Eggington headlining against Ted Cheeseman for the IBF International Super Welterweight title. That's a bullshit title. It might be a decent scrap though between two face forward guys. James Tennyson going in for the vacant British against Gavin Gwynn. Don't know a lot about Gwynn. Tennyson can obviously punch. Jordan Gill against Reece Bellotti might be a decent one. Bellotti's a little bit tainted, but Gill, I think he had an off night, didn't he, when he had the shits, but he should put up a decent fight against Bellotti. Fabio Wardley, see what he's made of. Against Simon Vallily, not really that sure about Vallily being up at heavyweight. And undefeated Dalton Smith going against Nathan Bennett. Don't know anything about those two guys. Let us know what you think, Andy, on that first one.
Eggington Cheeseman should be what we think it's going to be. Blood and guts. I think it will be a type of chess action fight. Vallily, that's the cruiserweight, isn't it? I think he got smashed up in his last fight. Bit of a shock, was it no?
He's up at heavyweight now, isn't he? So
yeah.
He was a cruiser, and apparently he was tight at the weight, so he's decided, to make the step up. Good fight, that. I like it. English title. Solid English title fight. I don't know what else you'd expect, really, for
that. Terence against Gwynn. British title. That's kind of fights we're kind of looking at and stuff like that. And Gil Bellotti. I'm there kind of like, so I want to kind of like chat on about the pay-per-view card now, obviously, because you've got Taylor headlining it without an opponent. He's putting the pressure on Serrano, but contract's been signed. Taylor's now tweeting it as well. White, Povetkin, obviously, I mean, if you haven't to bring in Povetkin, White's having to get pacified because he's not getting title shots, so you need to get some money in. But Coley Kuzman, I know he's quite confident that Kuzman's going to get beat here. I know you are, Ozzy, at least, but you never know, actually. You never know. Considering that Bakole wanted to get pulled out one fight previously. He's shown that there could be some wilt in him there. So if Kuzma can kind of keep it deep weather, we'll see what happens. Clay against Congo, I think that might be a decent fight as well. Luther Clay.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought I don't know if it's literally because it's Billy Nelson, basically, but I don't rate Kuzmin. David Price was well in that fight before he tore his pec. He buzzed Kuzmin. I think I had it 2 rounds apiece. But we'll bring Steve in and then we'll talk about the rest of the cards and the pay-per-view again once we've had the next guest.
Thank you very much, Ozzy. Delighted to welcome Luke Pearce on the call. How are you, Luke?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Absolutely fine. We can hear you loud and clear. The guys were just talking there, Luke, actually, about some of the fights that have been announced over the upcoming weeks. Matchroom have obviously announced 4 cards. Frank Warren's announced a few as well. Anything that sticks out to you?
Well, the one that sticks out to me is Gavin Gwynn versus James Tennyson.
We just mentioned that, actually, and I was saying I don't know a lot about Gavin. I suppose you do?
Well, I know he's a great person. He's also a great fighter. I watched him in his British title Eliminator, and I was really impressed with him then. I thought he had a great engine. He came on really strong, and he showed great grit and determination, especially after losing the first couple of rounds. So I was very impressed with him. But as a team, that's the goal. We want to win the Lonsdale belt, and one day hopefully we'll get the opportunity to fight for it, as Gavin is now. But we wish him all the best, and he's a great fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tough against James Tennyson. He's obviously fought at world level and he can punch as well.
Oh yeah, massive puncher. He proved that against Craig Evans, didn't he? And he is a whirlwind. He's in there. He's quick. And if you can't survive the intensity, you've got to have real good durability and good boxing skills to keep him off. And you need a punch, really, don't you? So it is a big ask. But again, we always want to support the Welsh fighters, that are in these bouts. And yeah, good luck to him.
Absolutely. Just before we go to matters closer to home, any views on the big pay-per-view that was announced, Dillian Whyte against Povetkin, or maybe about Dillian Whyte's plight, quote-unquote, overall, trying to get a shot at the WBC title?
Well, I can understand why Dillian Whyte's going about it. He's trying to create waves. He wants that shot, doesn't he, against Tyson Fury? And I don't blame him. And he's probably doing that because, do you know what, they'll have to pay him off. So he's probably making waves in that way. But in terms of Povetkin, I think he should have the edge on Povetkin, in my opinion, even though I think it's a great fight. But again, Dillian Whyte, he's fighting the who's who, isn't he, at the heavyweight division. That's only going to help him when he does eventually get back there for a shot at the shot that is.
Absolutely. So how did you get involved in boxing, Luke? Tell us about Newport's Rocky.
Right, so it's a 20-year journey for me, really. My uncle, David Bomber Pearce, passed away in the year 2000. Really devastating. I was in the Welsh Guards at the time. I knew all my father and his brothers had been boxers, and they were all professional. But when David died, it had a massive impact on me. And I went to the library, and I tried to find out information about him, and they only had one picture. And I was devastated. So I said that day, I'm not going to stop until everybody in the city and the country knows about David Pearce, and I never did. And it's funny, really, because it's draw lines and parallels with my career as well in the military. So I started off as a guardsman. I worked my way right up to become a commissioned officer. And that was literally at the time when we started the statue project. So, it was fate, if you like. But, we collected memorabilia for the first sort of 16, 17 years. And then the last 3 or 4 years was charity statue project. It took us 18 months to raise £61,000. That included the plinth, the statue, the construction, the shipping costs. For David, I always believed that he deserved the recognition. He fought in an era of behemoths. He gave away attributes. He weighed his life 13 stone 3 to some of his heavyweight fights. I was so proud of him. I mean, he beat Dennis Andrews, 3 times WBC light heavyweight world champion. A lot of people might not know he actually was going to fight James Buster Douglas after his IBF heavyweight title fight against Tony Tugger, and he was pulled on 3 hours' notice, and Donnie Long took the fight, and that's on BoxRec, so that's all there to see in terms of his record. So he was very unlucky that he didn't get that one last big fight. He was linked with S.D. Gordon, Nate Parlow, Marvin Camel, and he did sign to fight Ozzy Ocasio for the WBA Cruiserweight title. But unfortunately, he wasn't allowed to fight in that last fight due to medical reasons. So very sad. But again, we turn that negative into a positive, and he now has a statue which has not only put Newport on the map, it's put Welsh boxers on the map as well. And off the back of that, we've got a registered charity, and our aim is to inspire the next generation of Welsh sportsmen and sportswomen. And this statue will obviously, provide the inspiration, and we'll provide financial grants to help people.
Yeah, well said. You are to be commended for the work that you've done, Luke. It is superb. You mentioned Dennis Andrews there. Gordon Ferris is on the list as well. Knocked out Neville Mead for the heavyweight title and then fought for the European title away in Paris as well. An excellent fighter, David Pearce.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. He was a tough man, but he was a gentleman. And again, for me, the thing with David is, he wasn't the biggest heavyweight. He wasn't a Larry Holmes. He was never going to outbox people. He was too small. So to achieve what he did, considering from 1979 to 84, he wasn't allowed to fight in his actual true division, the cruiserweight division, is very sad. But people know his story now, don't they? And do you know what? If he hadn't gone through the trials and tribulations that he did, maybe I wouldn't be the person I am today. The team might not be the team we are today, and David's memory might not be the memory it is today. So I'm very proud that we all went through it and we've got there in the end.
Absolutely, well said. So you've linked up then with Craig Woodruff, and there's a big fight lined up in Belarus on this Al Siesta show. What type of an experience do you think that'll be, Luke?
Well, it's a huge opportunity. It's going to be, a huge experience as well. We didn't hesitate to take that fight. A lot of people in the boxing fraternity, especially in South Wales, thought we were crazy for taking that fight. But we believe in Craig. I've been involved with Craig now for the last 4 years, 2 years getting him back into boxing, and then 2 years training him. And, I knew him before as well as an amateur, and we've always got on great. And we know he's got the potential to be a British champion from Wales. There's no two ways about it. And this guy he's fighting ranked 30th in the world, fought for an IBF title, and he's also beaten Ismail Barroso, who beat Kevin Mitchell, and fought Anthony Crawler. So he's got massive credibility, and we're going there to win.
Yeah, we had Al Siesta on the call last week. You're looking forward to going over to Belarus. Apparently things are okay over there. The setup's all going to be in hand as well, sorted by Al and his team.
Yeah, we can't wait. I bet the Belarus people are lovely. And John Hamm was even telling me earlier, he's going to name his next child after somebody from Belarus, so we can't wait.
Absolutely. What are the ambitions for Craig then long term, do you think?
So overall goal, since we started, it was always to become the next Lonsdale winner from Newport since David Pearce. That was always the achievement, and that's why we got involved with him. So I would say a British title, definitely. After the Cheyenne fight, we've been speaking to promoters, and they promised us a title fight in either September or November, either lightweight or super featherweight. And if we come through that, we would then look to stake our claim to the British title.
Absolutely. What other fighters are you involved with at the moment, Luke?
So we purely focus on Craig Woodruff. I've been asked by numerous fighters, both amateur and professional, to get involved with us. But the trouble we've got is, like I say, I also work as a commission officer. Myself and John Hand run the charity, the David Pearce Legacy. And I don't think it's fair on Craig at this moment in time. In the next 18 months is really key for him, and we want to give him the best opportunity, because we don't just run the boxing side of things. We help him outside, so we help with the media, the profiling, getting his food for him, supplements, running the training programs, and then obviously training him as well. So it's a big effort from us all, but we want him to achieve.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just generally then, we were talking to Chris Jenkins just before we got you on. Obviously the Sanagars, Mo Pryor, all doing good things. Do you think Welsh boxing is on the way up?
Yeah, I think Welsh boxing is on the way up. I think we've got some great characters in the game. Really helpful people, like Gary Lockett, Pebbles, Gavin Reese. They've all been great to us. We've got St. Joseph's, Tony Borg and Billy Reynolds and Roger Williams there. So I think, we've got some great gyms in Wales. We've got some great talent. And I think as long as the guys like MTK and Mo Pryor continue to support Welsh boxing, like they have been, which has been really good, I think, the sky's the limit for Welsh boxing.
Absolutely. We thank you for your time, Luke. Where can people catch up with you, social media or website-wise?
So anybody can catch up with us on either Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and it's Newport's Rocky.
Newport's Rocky. Luke, thanks very much for giving us your time on Sunday evening. We do appreciate it, and good luck out in Belarus.
Oh, thank you very much. All the best, guys. Take care.
All the best. Thank you, sir. Luke Pearce there. Yeah, that was an interesting one, Aussie. David Pearce, fighter I'm not overly familiar with. I've seen him on the BoxRex before, but done good work there, Luke Pearce. And Craig Woodruff, he's going to have it tough, isn't he? Let's be honest, out in Belarus. But I think the guys know that. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, and look, they're taking an opportunity. It'd be easy to say no and try and work the way up. But look, they're going to go for it. The guy he's fighting, is it Chaniev, is coming off a couple of losses. I've watched Woodruff box a couple of times. He's very tall. I think he's over 6 foot, and he can box. And a couple of his losses he took. So he fought Luke Campbell, took that on like a week's notice. Martin Ward, he fought as well again. Took on relatively short notice as well. Again, it's a massive ask, but you've got to applaud it. And who knows? And it's good that the planning for further down the line as well. So who knows what can happen? But no, it's great. It's little things like that when you get people like Luke on the pod, from where you hear that he obviously his uncle there he wanted to continue his legacy and the work he's done over the past 20 years. He's certainly ensured that he's continued to be remembered. Interesting that Andy's just put in our chat now that it was believed that Frank Bruno was actually swerving David Pearce as well, a fight with Pearce. So that was quite interesting, particularly what Bruno went on to achieve as well.
Yeah, I think he was small guy Pearce, wasn't he? You see the Andres fight and fighting around light heavyweight. I think cruiserweight probably would have been his area, realistically, Andy.
Yeah, I get as you mentioned there, actually, he was kind of like forced to kind of fight out his best weight. I don't think we really had a cruiserweight division around about that time, but there was a documentary actually kicking about something. I forget what channel it was on, and it was about the statue and that. It just wasn't until I mentioned that, I was like, I fucking know this guy. And of course, it's Bomber Pierce, man. I'm like, Chris, Charles Bronson mentioned this guy. I'm not talking about the murder, I'm talking about the fucking actor. Charles Bronson says this guy was a legend, the true hard man. Everybody's mentioned one of the biggest hitters in the heavyweight divisions in Britain at least. And I'll tell you what, actually, see if he'd fought in any other era, by the way, he probably would have been a superstar, or picked up more belts than what he did. European champ, British champ, big power hitter. I think he even sparred with Lennox Lewis a few times in that as well. Yeah, it was just a shit. I think he ended up filming, was it a brain scan or something like that? And basically got his license withdrew, and that was him fucked because he that's all he knew. I think there was something like 6 or 7 brothers or something like that as well. I think there was a whole gang of them, I think, fighting brothers, I'm sure. Pearce brothers. And he died in his early 40s, whatever it was, in that as well. So it's a sad
41,
tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it Alzheimer's or something? But yeah, it was like, I think the whole family were the entire brothers were all boxers, and I think the dad obviously had a bit to do with it as well. And that, but see, if you get your hands on that documentary, it's on Sky somewhere, but I can't mind where.
Go and find it, everybody. Yeah, Sean Edwards. If Sean Edwards is knocking about, I have sent you the link if you want to come on. I know he's a big hater Dave Loback fan, is Sean, but jump on if you want. He's been on before. It's StreamYard now. Just click the link and join on your device of choice. Join in on his device of choice now. Flying in from the mean streets of Wexford, it's rapping Rob Kelly. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing good, Stephen. How are we doing tonight for sound?
Very well. We can hear you loud and clear, sir. Glad to hear that you're keeping well. Excellent. What have you been up to?
Excellent. Started to catch back up with some of the fights this week now that the action is picking up. Saw some of the announcements. Just trying to catch up with a bit of gardening, to be honest with you. Clinton Woods made me feel bad when he did his interview and he was like, oh, you have to keep doing something. I was like, then the whole lockdown and no work done on the garden whatsoever. So I got a hold of it this week and it's looking okay. I'm going to have fight camp pretty towards the end of the year. I think I've got some big names. Who knows, maybe a return to mainstream boxing in Ireland. I'm sure that there's no reason why that couldn't go ahead. So everything's looking good.
Everything's looking good in the garden. They're asking for the wind sound effects here, Rob. People are missing their wind sound effects.
Don't worry, I'll be back in the field momentarily and all wind will be restored to normal order.
Happy Rob Kelly on with us on a Sunday night. Yeah, let's continue talking. We'll come to Rob as well shortly. I'm not sure who I cut off in their prime about this first week. I think I just heard them saying what a great fight Dalton Smith against Nathan Bennett was. Seriously, boys, who was talking? Go on ahead, resume.
Funny that. I think we've pretty much wrapped up the first one. I'd probably say it's his best. It's the best of the 4 cards, to be honest. I like Tennyson Gwynn, and I say it about every Tennyson fight. If you can, invest in his body early, and you can withstand his power. Gwynn put in a commendable effort against Joe Cordina. I think it was for this belt actually, a couple of fights ago. And Cordina was expected to truly outclass him. So again, I think Gwynn is quite a big outsider, but there's a chance there. I mean, yourself, Steve, Tennyson has got, whilst he's got, he's a big puncher, he certainly has his vulnerabilities as well.
Yes.
Gill, I think he'll blast out Bellotti. I think Bellotti's done. I mean, I think he's one of the only English fighters to lose on one of those Italian cards when you go over there to kind of resurrect your career. Wardley, Vallily, good English title fight. Probably side with Wardley, but if Vallilly's on it, I think Vallily won a Commonwealth medal, so he's got ability. Nathan Bennett is managed by Steve Wood. I haven't seen a lot of him, but the big on Dalton Smith. Look, it's fair play for it would be easy to pull in a relatively rank journeyman, but this is a good fight. For Smith in his 6th fight, fighting somebody 9-1, you would expect Smith to come through with relative ease, but you never know. It's boxing. It's in the back garden. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. Andy, did you get stuck in on card 1, I'm assuming?
Yeah, mate, Tennyson Gwynn, I think Bellotti as well. Hopefully he's got his gas tank fixed out. And Cheeseman against Eggington, I think that will be pretty much a phone booth war, actually. And I agree with Ozzy, it's probably his best card out the 4. The one I really do take issue with is the last card, is August, the pay-per-view. As I say, Bob Arum wouldn't even fucking put a card on pay-per-view, even Frank Warren and stuff like that. So, but I get it. Look, he's got to bring Povetkin over. He's promised White. White's not getting a title fight in that, so he's made promises to White in the past. He's given pay-per-view cash as a kind of makeup and stuff. But yeah, I've got a wee bit of issue with Dylan White, actually, to be honest with you. Just the kind of like his attitude stuff, just the way he's going to boot things, fucking stuff and stuff. But at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn's his promoter, so he's the one that should be organising the fights for him and stuff. So he should be having a chat with Eddie rather than having a fucking go at Tyson, because at the end of the day, Tyson's contractually obliged to a rematch with Deontay Wilder. So people can go on about COVID-19 and travel restrictions all you want, but contracts are fucking contracts. We see Eddie Hearn saying to Amanda Serrano that a contract is legally binding. Katie Taylor talking about contracts and that as well. Let's get it on. So Tyson Fury is tied up at the minute. So Dillian White just needs to calm the fuck down. Right? Just calm the fuck down. Beat Povetkin. You'll get your chance. But at the end of the day, remember, you also backed away for opportunities for world title fights. So this is on you, and it's also on your promoter. So stop fucking bitching and get in line.
Get out for a walk with the dogs, man. Get your mind off it.
Yeah. Stop handling that dog meat.
Get out for a walk with the dog. Nothing bad's going to happen there that could possibly scupper any fight. So just go get out with the dogs and enjoy yourself.
Anything on that first card, Rob, before we move on? Eggington, Cheeseman, Tennyson, Gwynn, a bit of Gill, Bellotti?
Anything on that card? That was the question I was asking myself, Steve, when I was reading the lineup. No, this is, in all honesty, right, and this is not a pop at Matchroom, so I don't want anyone else saying, you never give it to Frank. I give it to all of them, right? But this is shitty. It's a shitty card with C to B level fighters all 4 weeks, as far as I can see, and then you got Povetkin and White. But I mean, I suppose Eggington and Cheeseman would be a bit of a, I think,
bit of a ding dong.
Yeah, it'd be worth watching maybe on the night live. But I'm certainly not going to watch any of these back or make sure that I'm here to see Reece Bellotti fight someone in Eddie Hearn's fucking back garden. Like, man, you must be fucking joking me. Like, absolutely. These are dross fights. Like, and it's good to get boxing back and the interest back, and it has to come back in stages. I get all that. And if anything, these fellas will probably get more of a platform now because they would have been pushed down the broadcasting where Eddie's back on standard PPV shows. Like, but don't fucking try and tell me anybody's getting excited about seeing these kind of caliber lads fighting in the garden. Like, I'm sure I've seen that before loads of times in Ireland, and it wasn't on telly. So, nothing really taking my fancy. Apart from the return of Shannon Courtney, of course, everyone knows I can't wait for that. Like, that's, when the piano drops, who knows what's going to happen then. So, yeah, interesting times, exciting stuff, Steve, for sure.
Exciting times ahead, Johnny. Welcome back to the call. Long time no see. Sean Edwards, how are you, Sean?
Yo, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. Good to hear from you. What do you want to talk about on this Sunday evening, episode 379?
What do you guys feel about the whole AJ and the Fury kind of matchup? I've actually heard from a reliable source that it's going to be in Saudi, but that's still apparently not been announced. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I'm interested in what you have to think, really, Sean, to be honest with you. I mean, stylistically, we talked to Dave from Boxing's First last week. He laid it out. Do you think AJ's got the power to get rid of him? Is Fury going to box rings around him? How do they match up stylistically?
You've got to say that Fury's a favourite, to be honest. Like, his skills are just so superior. But I think the style might be difficult for him because obviously AJ's aggression, I think that's what he might find challenging. But yeah, I would put Fury in as a favourite, but I think AJ's got a good puncher's chance, to be honest. But there's just so much that can happen before that fight happens, and then you've got Dillian like piping up at the moment. And but even with Dillian, I'm just a bit like, why is he talking now? Because Tyson Fury's got a fight sign up next, and obviously he's not going to be able to fight him right now, so it's a bit insincere. But I guess I think someone was saying earlier that the fact that he might be trying to get like money or trying to get step aside money or something like that. But
yeah, the thing is with Dillian and insincerity, I think he's playing the role of the pantomime villain. He's trying to make it look like he's being hard done to, while secretly he's probably lapping up those, 4 or 5 pay-per-views without having fought for a European title, as Porky Russ says. I mean, he's coordinating, isn't he, Dillian?
Fucking Sky Sports were actually even mollycoddling him because they've actually put that Ace Effect picture of him on Twitter and that, still waiting for a title fight. Oh, fucking hell, man. Just fucking fight Josh when you got the offer, dickhead.
Exactly. That's a very good point, because how can you complain when you had the opportunity to fight for 3 world titles? How could, you can't really complain, can you? You had the opportunity, you didn't take it. And now it's just, I don't know, it's a bit annoying the way he complains, to be honest.
This is what I'm saying. It's fake complaining. I don't think he's too bothered. And I don't blame him. He's getting the pay-per-views. Just going back there, you said, Sean, to the Saudi Arabian thing. Do you think they would take it out to Saudi? I know money trumps all, but is that not something they'd try and hold off and have on British soil?
Well, this is from a reliable source.
Who told you?
But yeah, apparently it's all done. And I can't say.
Come on, tell us the name. Who is it? Come on.
And yeah.
Come on, Steve.
Come on, Eddie. Got a text from Canelo's people. Come on, Eddie.
But no, but that's what it's a reliable source. So if it doesn't turn out to be true, I'll come on and then I'll let Dave, have a go at me. But where is Dave, by the way?
I haven't heard from Dave in a while. He's still knocking about. He works on Sundays, you see. He's a good guy. Hey to Dave. He's one of boxing's good guys.
One of life's good Jews.
Is it Jew?
We take all sorts.
We take all sorts on here, like.
We take all sorts, don't we? Jason Chukwu is in the chat. He's loving the chat so far. He says this guy talking sounds like an alert version of myself. Sean's getting good feedback here. What about the feedback for what Eddie's put out so far? Fight Camp, which is the best of the 4 weeks that he's put on offer, Sean.
Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead. Can you hear me, Sean?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Andy?
I can hear you fine, mate. I can hear the guy talking, but
Hear
he's
him
not
saying hello.
Can you hear me now, Sean?
Hello. We are the Belly Boys.
He's fell asleep. You fell asleep, Sean?
Ooh.
Oh, he's gone. Got rid of him inadvertently.
Must have dropped off. His internet connection must have dropped off or whatever. I don't know.
He's not a fan of poor hater Dave, but we love Dave around these parts. Come back on, Sean, if you wish. So let's get on to week 2 while we're waiting for Sean to reconnect, Aussie. I think you've probably covered most of this, haven't you? Chris Smith against Nathan Thorley. I was trying to think earlier. Thorley is an undefeated Welsh cruiserweight. There was an undefeated Welsh cruiserweight of some repute going around a couple of years ago. He fought that Congo guy on a Channel 5 card. Who was that? I'm trying to think of.
Callum Smith. No, he's no Welsh. What's his name?
You're on about Craig Kennedy.
Yes, Craig
That's
Kennedy.
it, aye.
Craig
Kennedy,
Thorley
yeah.
to come up behind him is maybe like the new hope.
Yeah, Matty Askin beat Craig Kennedy on Channel 5 for the British title, actually. I don't know a lot about Thorley, to be honest. I was discussing on Twitter, and he apparently was a pretty decent amateur. Hasn't really fought anybody of note, to be honest, on the way up. This fight with Billum Smith is his first real test. But it's all you can ask for a Commonwealth title fight. I would rather see Billum Smith against Thorley than Billum Smith against, like your Ebenezer Tetes of the world who are garbage. So, yeah, decent. I'll happily take that.
Ebenezer, good.
Fowler Harper, I'm not sold on whatsoever. I don't get why they keep dropping Fowler to like this English level. It's a bit weird.
It's almost like they know that he's a bit shit, maybe.
That is his level, Aussie, man. Fuck, did you know? Fitzgerald proved it.
It's almost like they know something.
It's just odd, isn't it? Adam Harper, I thought he'd retired due to like a dodgy brain scan or something. But again, look, you are restricted on what you can get, but I'm sure there was better opponents available. Fias, Kane Baker's good. Kane Baker's not bad. He's one. He's a bit of an odd one. He's a home fighter sometimes, but then also goes on the road in examples like this. He's won a Midlands area title. Very decent enough. Fias should have too much, to be honest. He trains up with Jamie Moore. A good fighter, very good. Should have enough for Baker. That Hopi Price, I guess he'll fight pretty much a nobody. Only 2-0. And then the main event, Terry Harper against Tasha Jonas. Not a fight I'm overly bothered about, to be honest. It's naff. We saw
Jonas is crap, I think. Unless
shut the fuck. You stop. Canelo's looking forward to it. Right? He's raging that he can't get over here to watch it. You stop fucking moaning, man. the pound for pound king is fucking raging. He can't get into the UK to watch this fight. Stop. Come on, think about it.
Mate, he'll be all over that DAZN subscription then to ensure that you can watch what's it called? You can watch Harper Jonas. But no, we saw Jonas. She got embarrassed by Vivian Obernorth. She battered him. And I think Harper will do the same, to be honest. Harper will, a bit of a come forward style, and I'll just put it
Is the real interest, Aussie, if Harper stops her or not? That's where the interest lies for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is the interest. I mean, I'll be gutted if it goes 10 rounds, and it's just a 190 win for Harper. I'll be devastated. But yeah, look, if Harper can go and do it, fair play. That'll be Jonas off into the sunset. That'll be her career done and dusted with. But no, after a solid first week, I do think it drops a little on quality for the second week for me.
Shout out Andy Eggy Phil in the chat there. He's the guy who pulled out the Terry Harper and Canelo clip, by the way, so he's in our chat tonight.
A good man. I was just going to say, actually, Jonas is trained by Peter Fury, eh?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
it's Joe Gallagher, isn't she?
Who's the female fighter? That's it, Savannah Marshall. Sorry, my mistake.
Saying all women boxers look the same, Andy.
What, Dykes?
Yeah, what do you think about week 2 then? I think Fowler, they know what his level is, don't they, realistically?
Yeah, I said that. I mean, that is his level. And, if he thinks anything better of that, then that's up to him. I look forward to Billum Smith against Thorley. I mean, Billum Smith, he's... I'm not going to proclaim anything, but he's a nice kid, I know Tommy's dad's a big fan of him. They can have a wee chat with him and stuff like that as well for back time to time and stuff. So yeah, maybe that one. If anything, that thing, you're hoping that Fowler's going to get beat off Harper, which is obviously never going to happen probably. But as for week 3, I'll let Ozzy come in on the female fight, which he's been doing his research. Yes, we do a research gentleman on female boxing.
Hold on, boys. Hold on, boys. Let's wrap in Rob Kelly because I know he's desperate to get stuck in on week 2. I don't want to deprive him here.
Okay.
And there is a bit of interest for wrapping Rob Kelly here for week 2. Terry Harper is fighting Natasha Jonas, who got exposed by Obanoff. Rob, I know you're a fan of the older Vivian Obanoff highlight footage. I think he's fell asleep. No Obanoff love, Rob, before we move on? No Obanoff love for Rob. We'll maybe get him back in shortly. Yes, week 3 then, Ozzy. Felix Cash against Jason Wellborn. That's not really doing it for me, actually. It's all right. Like Kieran Conway against Naveed Mansouri might be decent. Shannon Courtney against Rachel Ball. Not really that interested. I know you want to speak about that very shortly. Zelfa Barrett against Eric Donovan does interest me. I think that's a good fight.
Yeah, I don't mind the Cash Wellborn fight because Wellborn's got a pretty decent style from where it'd be quite exciting, even if it's just a case of he's shown he can be stopped quite a few times. He was stopped, by JJ Metcalf last time out. Cash has been he's flown through every test at the moment. Wellborn will probably be his. I forgot he battered Jack Cullen actually. In last time out. It's not bad. It's okay. It is what it is. It's a Commonwealth title fight, isn't it? You wouldn't be disappointed if it was a British title fight, for example. Mansouri, I mean, he's had a bit of an odd career. He kind of comes and goes, inactive, active. I'm just looking at his record now. He had 5 fights in Spain. Got beat off a guy called Jorge Fortea, and then got beat off that. No, Conway will beat him.
Sorry, Ozzy, can I alert you to the message on the screen? MB usually knows what he's talking about. He seems to think Wellborn might be out.
No, that's on the pay-per-view card. So that was Jack Cullen should have been fighting Jason Quigley, and yes. Quigley is now out. So they're looking to pull Morrison in to fight Cullen.
That's poor for Quigley, isn't it? Like he really could have done with that fight, I think.
Hearn had a bit of a do with him and said, I can't believe fighters aren't, when they knew this was coming and they're not ready. So I think he had a bit of a do whether Quigley, he's just out of shape or, he's just, he won't be ready for that day.
See at that point, though, you would think that Eddie's probably say to these guys, look, listen, use are my plans for the opening shows on X date or don't be ready for, like, say, these possible dates. So you would think that Eddie's done his homework, look, guys, get ready. And if he has given proper notice and stuff, I mean, you still got, what, 2 months? 6 weeks?
Yeah.
It's bad form, like.
Yeah, very. And look, you burn your bridges doing stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Why should he go back and offer Quigley an opportunity, when he's let himself down and he pulled out the day before it was going to be announced. And look, it's a decent slot to have as well. As you say, Andy, fighters are more likely, for these sort of level of fights are going to get more exposure now rather than being shoved down a card, potentially on Facebook or not on TV at all.
It's not going to happen for Quigley. It's not going to happen for Quigley, I don't think, which is a shame because he's so talented.
Yeah, and he's been trained by Andy Lee now, so I thought Lee would have had him knuckled down, but clearly not. And he's blown that opportunity. Conway should beat Mansouri. I've just had a look, and he got beat off that Stephen Daniel, he's okay, but he's nothing special. So, and Conway's all right. I think he gave. Did he box out Cheeseman? That was it. He gave Cheeseman a relatively decent.
He drew with someone, didn't he?
I think he drew with Cheeseman, and then I think he got beat off Fowler. I can't remember who. No, he's not fought Fowler.
No, he fought Derek Osazi in a prize fighter type thing.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And
it was that ultimate thing. Ultimate.
Yes, Ultimate Boxer.
Yeah.
Just on Jason Quigley, actually, I noticed Irish News actually put out an article end of May, a good month ago, and he's like, he's giving them the quotes, he's banging the bag and that, he's working in his garage, he's got his daughter sitting watching him and stuff. So. What the hell's happened? I mean, he's just like, just been eating what he wants, but been working out at the same time and just hasn't been able to shift the weight.
I've no idea. It wasn't announced. Look, if it was a
Me-
legit injury, you can't fault anyone for getting injured. That happens. But from what Edward was saying, I don't think it is an injury, and I think it's more he might be a bit too heavy type of thing, and he should be able to shift the weight, which, as we said, is a great shame. And look, Steve doesn't think it'll happen for him.
Yeah. Well, so in this article, he's claiming that he's been running, 6-10 miles a day and stuff, and he's doing stuff he'd never done before. I mean, it's all there in writing. He's even got quotes attributed him to as well. So it's absolutely poor. This is like, as I say, this is like less than a month ago. So that's absolutely poor form if he's fucked up the weight or he's just not ready for this. This is absolutely that's terrible.
Rob's back with us. Rob, we're just lamenting Jason Quigley not being able to fight Cullen on one of the cards. Are you as upset as we are, Rob? He's in tears. He's in tears over there. For fuck's sake. You alright, Rob? No. Too upset. What about Shannon Courtney, Aussie? I think she's going to get the job done.
Not at all. No, I think if this is the most confident I've felt about a boxing bet in a long time. Her opponent, Rachel Ball, at 5-1. But that loss, I watched the fight before, was very controversial. She was a bit jobbed on the cards, to be honest. I didn't score it, sit there and score it properly, but I watched the fight and felt she definitely won 4 of 8 rounds. And the girl she lost to is now like an interim world champion, which I know doesn't necessarily mean much, because of the depth. But she's not bad. She has a jab, and she can throw, a right hand off the jab, and she'll stand there and trade. She's done the distance twice. She did 8 rounds out in Norway, so she's got experience, traveling abroad as well and being the away fighter. And then her last fight was at the end of the year, end of 2019. She beat like a tough journeywoman in Beck Connolly. She's massive. She's in terms of height for the weight. And I think she's gonna tower over Courtney, who, when I've seen her, she's rubbish. She just offers nothing. She's very much, a bit of a, just it's like she's just adapted. All the sponsors have taken to her. She's all about the fancy watches. She buzzes off knocking out, which are garbage journeymen, which are just awful and would be essentially shoved at the bottom of a card, opening it up at 4:30 because no one's bothered about them. The one fight she did have, I thought she got beat, which was against that Jasmine and Nad. Whereas Ball, the fundamentals are just better. I've spoken to a couple of people, one female boxer and one boxing trainer from the area, and they're both backing Ball to win this. They're absolutely gobsmacked at the odds. And after watching, a couple of fights myself, I think it's a great bet. It's over 8 rounds, so it's not, it's one of these from where, it's not as if it's going to be over short and sweet. And I think it's I think she's 11-4 now rather than 7-2. I just happily back against Courtney without a doubt, not because I dislike her. I just don't think she's great. Ball's got more experience, boxed at a better level, and Courtney's 5-0 is pretty shoddy. So I think there's money to be made there personally. I've already backed it already, and I'll certainly go and back it again as the fight gets closer. I'll actually say it now, I won't be shocked if Courtney pulls out of this fight, because she'll realise the going will get tough, because this is the first person who's going to hit her back. Rachel Ball can, she can take a shot as well. It's one that I think we'll see the first loss of Shannon Courtney, and hopefully I'll win money from it as well.
Huge call, by the way, because the 10,000 listeners listening just now actually are going to be saying, "Fucking hell, man, maybe get some money on that," and then Shannon Courtney's going to pull out. I mean, we're going to miss her a day at the weigh-in. She's going to swap watches from one wrist to the other wrist to get it in the TV picture and all that sort of stuff. So it'd be a big loss for Shannon to pull out of this card, actually. So
I confessed earlier I haven't actually seen Shannon Courtney fight, Rob. You there, Rob? Oh, Rob's disappeared. Rob's done a Wellings and bought some high-tech equipment, and now he can't get on or anything. Nothing will work. People think he's being tight. Feel for you, Rob. Feel for your brother. Well, let's move on then. Yeah, Eric Donovan's Zelfa Barrett. I'm looking forward to that. I want to see. Donovan was an excellent amateur, so I want to see how he steps up. That is week. What are we on now? Week 3. He might have been kidnapped, you know. Week 4 is the big pay-per-view. Dillian White against Alexander Povetkin. Povetkin, I don't know. It might be. I don't really know what to think about that, to be honest. I'll reserve judgment. Looking forward to Luther Clay against Congo. Bakole against Kuzmin is good in its own little ecosystem, but whenever you look at the fact they both lost to Michael Hunter, it doesn't look so good. Katie Taylor against TBA. Is she going to fight Serrano or not? It's all right, Ozzy. It's all right.
Yeah, it lacks a couple of fights, doesn't it? I mean, some people are saying Taylor Serrano would do it for, would make it the pay-per-view that they want to see. Not for me. I'm not really bothered. I just think that Serrano will be too small. The fight I would rather see is Taylor Chantel Cameron. I talk about it all the time. I just think that is a better fight, and I think it's one that Taylor can lose in as well. But who knows? As I said, they were looking to put on Cullen and Quigley. That's now off. I think they're going to look to put Cullen, Marcus Morrison on there again. Bit of a meh. I'm not really fussed about that. But I like Bakole Kuzmin, Steve. I think it's not bad. Look, if your winner goes and fights, looks to get the rematch with Hunter, I think it makes sense. I actually think Kuzmin is man-made for Bakole. Big Pricey was taking rounds off Kuzmin before he did. He tore his pec.
I agree with you, Ozzy, but as Knockout Boxing says there, would have to be Hunter if it's pay-per-view. The thing is, because it's pay-per-view, I would say Bakole against Kuzmin is a good fight. If you've got 3 or 4 stronger fights on that level, like boxed in around it, but because you haven't, it sort of pushes it up to a higher level where I don't think it holds.
Yeah, I'll judge the card when they confirm it. Hearn said there's 2 more fights to go or something like that.
Fair enough.
And they're eyeing up another heavyweight contest to go on there. I don't know what it'll be. I'm not sure. Whether he was alluding to Alan Fury on that, which does nothing for me. I'm not sure, but I don't mind it. And Bakole, again, is a great price. He's 1-2. And I think the stoppage will be over evens. So I'll definitely take that. Clay Congo, great fight. Probably fight the card, really. Is that Rob?
We know he's alive anyway.
Yeah, that's fucking Darth Vader.
Sorry, I didn't know. I was plodding along there. The microphone was failing me there on the last 2 occasions, so I wasn't sure if you could hear me. Sorry about that.
You're sounding clear now, so. Yeah, your man, Jason Quigley, by the way, shit in the bed, just letting the team down, by the way.
I don't know what's going on with Jason Quigley. I don't want to cast aspersions on the guy's character, but I'm wondering, is there a psychological issue for him? Who was the fight? What was the guy that beat him that he should have beaten in the States before he left and went to Andy?
Serrano Johnson.
Yeah.
Serrano Johnson, yeah. That was kind of similar to me to Andy Lee's loss against Brian Vera. He's kind of riding the crest of the wave. He's over in the States. The networks are interested in him. And then he loses against the guy he's supposed to beat and has to start over. And I think Andy saw stuff in him that he could improve. He mentioned kind of after one of their fights together that he's still not, there was still a work in progress. But Quigley would have wanted to, he turned pro quite early, turned over quite early, so time is still on his side to a degree, but he'd want to be active. And as Steve said, he was so good as an amateur. What was he? Did he win a gold world medal?
He did,
yeah. So you don't get world medals in the golf in Olympic or amateur tournaments if you can't fight. So he definitely can fight, but I'm just wondering, is there a psychological barrier to cross for Jason Quigley? But look, it'll play out, I'm sure. He hasn't done himself any favours with Eddie anyway. Fast Car wanted him in the garden fighting, so he would have wanted to make himself available. Eric Donovan's on one of the cards, is he not? I don't know if you covered that.
Eric Donovan's fighting Zelfa
Barrett. Yeah, Eric is in a tough spot because he's basically, like a lot of British fighters and Irish fighters, he's part-time in it. I think the money that he was due to win for that kind of Irish prize fighter tournament from a couple of years back. I don't think he ever got that money, and he was banking on that to go full-time pro. So this is a big opportunity for Eric to put himself in the window, and he's a very capable guy, so it won't be straightforward, I don't think, for Zelfa Barrett that night, although I'd still probably give Barrett the edge on activity and where he is in his pro career so far versus Eric. Jason Quigley, I don't know. Like I said, terrific amateur. I had high hopes for him as a pro. Was learning the ropes. I loved the way that he had gone to the States and stuff. But yeah, disappointing to see. I wanted to see him back out. Like so, time will tell on that one.
I think, Rob, regarding the tournament, I think that was maybe Roy Sheehan who was having those issues.
Sorry. No, there was. Yeah, I'm getting mixed up. But there was Braid or something due to Eric that was delaying him turning pro full time. I think and then he did turn pro. But like, it's tough for an Irish fighter based here at the moment. Where are you going to fight? You know what I mean? You have to go to the UK, or you have to go to the States, or where the action is, or Australia, like some of the lads have done, like, because they're not going to be having any fights here. And it's nothing to do with anybody. It's just a coincidence.
No, Rob's right. Donovan, fair play to Eric, Leonard Gunning and the boys who have done their best getting in fights back in Dublin, up in Belfast as well. But, I mean, you have to go over and take this opportunity. He's part-time. He's getting on a bit as well for the weight. So hopefully he can put up a good showing at least against Barrett.
I was just going to say, Steve, I was just going to ask Rob's opinions. I've seen, Rob, that I found an article that's saying that Jason's been, less than a month ago, he's been doing 6 10-mile runs. He's been working on the heavy bag in his garage. His daughter's sitting there in the picture, sitting watching him. He's got all these quotes and stuff. And Eddie's raging now that he's, I'm assuming Eddie's gave these guys ample opportunity to say, listen, be ready for roughly around about this date. And
he must have got an injury, Andy, or something, I can only imagine.
Somebody needs to come out and say so, because you don't need at this point, conjecture and speculation at this point, because any day you've got a reputation of maybe not taking it seriously enough, and here you are pulling out an opportunity of a chance of being back on mainstream television and getting an opportunity to probably win the show, so to speak. But
Andy, you should start working for Matchroom, baby. Yeah, that sounded like prime fast car. No, that's why I agree with you. Like I think that's why I'm just wondering, like, and speculating, is there some kind of psychological barrier with him, like that he's not feeling 100% now, and he wants to pull out? Because even in that Terriano Johnson fight, he looked like a rabbit in the headlights at times. He looked just so uncomfortable in there, and it looked like he was going through something mentally in the fight. Like, so I'm just wondering, is there? I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to cast aspersions on the guy's character, but I'm just wondering, is there a psychological edge to overcome there? Some guys are just fucking bangers. Like, I'm wondering, is it a case where he just doesn't feel there's something here, and he just doesn't feel like psychologically he's there ready for the fight? Like,
possibly. Aussie Chris Butler sent in a question which we've sort of touched upon. He said, is White versus Povetkin the worst ever pay-per-view in the UK? I haven't gone back and thought about other ones. There's been some stinkers over the years, but like you said, it needs to fill out, doesn't it, to be fair?
Bellew Cleverly too.
Oh, that was terrible. Do you remember the Foch Groves undercard? Was it the first one or the second one? That was
first.
The second one was okay. The first one was terrible. The second one was okay. You had De Gale and Mitchell in that one, I think.
Are we doing it as a card as a whole, or are we doing it
whatever you want? Whatever you want.
Fight, or I mean, Joshua Molina was rubbish as a headline, as an event. White Povetkin's okay. I just think Povetkin's done now. I think probably Hunter beat him out in Saudi. I think we know Povetkin is done. But look, if Povetkin comes over on the juice, because these drug testing things are on the low at the moment, we might see the best of Alexander yet again. But it needs a couple more. Let's see what the other 2 fights are. I mean, Taylor again. They said they've offered Pursoon the fight now, but I mean, look, unless somebody's in camp now, you're looking at you've got a couple of months actually, haven't you, for the
I would say 7 weeks. If you've not got offers to these other 2 people, you're talking at least another week for negotiations. If Serrano says no, then I see you with 7 weeks.
Yeah. Right, so again, I'd definitely see the Pursoon rematch. I enjoyed. That's one of the very few female fights I enjoyed, because it was great, because they just lumped, just absolutely battered each other. But it needs a couple more. There are circumstances, aren't there? It's not. I know it's a pay-per-view, but again, it's in a pandemic. There's no crowd and things. Clay Congo is good. Fight the card for now. That's a genuine 50-50. I haven't got a clue who'll win that. I've seen good stuff for Congo, but I think he's been rarely very.
Yeah, he's one who hasn't really broken through. I've heard he's meant to be really, really good.
Yeah, I'm sure he was involved. I think
he was a good amateur. It was GB squad.
Yeah, yeah, again, I mean, he's fought nobody. Absolutely, his record is just, pudding.
It's shit.
And Clay is his first real test. Yes, it is. It's rubbish. But at the same time, though, it's not this could be his breakout fight. Clay has certainly operated at a higher level, definitely. But this is a legit 50-50.
How bad would it be for Eddie if Povetkin was to pop now, though? Does anyone know if Povetkin has any Rottweilers or anything? Because if he does, as a pre-made excuse that he could have been just giving the dog steroids and that contaminated his sample, and that would be acceptable.
You're wrong there, Rob. You're wrong there, because there's a new excuse that men could use, but only the bravest of the alpha males could use it. You know where I'm going?
Yeah, yes. Half the matchroom stable could be found guilty of it.
It would entail basically coming out the closet and saying, "Gov, I swallowed a load last night."
I would have respect for anybody who went to those depths, though, Andy, to be fair. I mean,
Orlando Cruz, but honestly, someone somewhere, some males. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. could come out using that excuse at the minute. Yusuf Mack.
Orlando Cruz is just loading up his pictures of him posing with weightlifters in case anything goes wrong.
Super heavyweight.
Oh, dearie me. But yeah, I actually believe it. No, Russ Abner, who does the hand wrapping and stuff like that for Vasily Lomachenko, and they watch in the corner for Usyk and stuff. He's kind of like putting the question. It's just, why are people raging really about people testing dirty 3-4 times? Why are you not raging at the first time? I says, well, be honest, mate. I says, when you see excuses of people swallowing men's loads, you've got to wonder. He says, well, aye, but 100% for ingenuity, for coming out with that comment, but at the same time, it's going to take a fucking brave man to come out and say, yeah, I smoked some pink cigar and I swallowed. So somebody's going to come out with it at one point. Surely, fuck.
Somebody will. Right, so let's move on, boys, because we're getting towards the end of the show. We need to do the super featherweights as well. Episode 379, Belly of the Week's coming up. It might include somebody who's popped. It might not. I'll keep you hanging on that one. Rapping Bob Kelly's with us. So's Andy and so's Ozzy. Right, Andy, quick one from you. Floyd's nemesis retired, then he unretired TBE, Wan Hong Menayothin, 54-0, said he was done with boxing, and apparently he's going to get an opportunity now. He's coming back. He's not retired after all. Any intel on Wan Heng? Andy, I take it you saw the news during the week?
Yeah, I thought he'd retired. Then obviously he's reversed it. Like, was it 2 days later and stuff? I know he was meant to have his debut in America and stuff. So the TBE keeps rolling on. But to be honest, it is a somewhat kind of lethargic, shall we say, resume. He's got 3 decent wins on his resume, shall we say. But I think he's really struggling. He needs to get a unification fight, to be honest with you. But I think the whole Thai boxing scene is really in the shitter at the minute, to be honest with you. And I don't know why that is. I need to, go and have a look at things, maybe speak to my wife's uncle who stays over there and stuff. But it's by saying that as well, because there's YouTube channels out there who actually officially put out the fights, and they've been dead now for the best part of 18 months. So I really don't know what's really happening. As I say, many often. Was it Top Rank he signed with? Or it was I forget who.
Golden Boy we're looking at him.
Golden Boy, is that who it was? Aye, so he's meant to going over to defend his title and stuff, and COVID's hit. That's just put the whole thing up in the situation. And he said he's retiring, and 2 days later he reverses it. And that's all I know at this point. So I don't know what he's planning on doing. I don't even know what the situation's like over in Thailand at the minute for having fights and stuff. But as I say, it's very, very quiet in that regard. Boxing scene, it just seems absolutely empty at this point. And when I say that, I didn't mean like just now. I mean, pre-COVID, it was just nothing happening at all actually in the Thai boxing scene. Nothing whatsoever.
No Thai boxing to speak of. Porky Rossi is knocking about in the chat. Porky's got his own show. Let's celebrate by having Porky in the chat by playing a little clip, shall we?
Yeah, hiya!
Bean, would have been, could have been, should have been, never been. Baked bean, creepy bean, beanie, Rumpelstiltskin. We're on to you.
There we go, Russ. He's on to Bean. We'll have a bit of Bean here. I got told off during the week for putting up Bean-related content on the Facebook page. The Casual left the page. He made a big diva exit, leaving his period stains on the carpet as he left. I'm going now. I don't want any more Bean-related content. So off he went. I don't think he listens. Let's get on to the super featherweight, shall we, everybody? This list has been put in by Jason. No, it's by Marcus Knockout over on Twitter. Marcus Bellinger has thrown a list in for us. Same drill as usual. Let's go over the previous winners just as we start off, shall we? Last week we had Roberto Duran winning the lightweights. Costas Yu won the light welterweights. Sugar Ray Leonard won the welterweight. Nino Benvenuti was the light middleweight champion. Sugar Ray Robinson middleweight. James Toney super middleweight. Roy Jones Jr. light heavyweight. Evander Holyfield won the cruiserweight, and Larry Holmes won the heavyweights. Let's get on to quarterfinal number 1 for the super featherweights then. Who should we go to? We'll start off with you, rapping Rob Kelly. I think we have 2 minutes or less on Julio Cesar Chavez versus Marco Antonio Barrera.
Jesus Christ, like 2 of these in the first round. This is not right. Like, I'm gonna, if you're going prime for prime, I'm going to say Chavez edges it by being able to have his way with him. But Barrera could box as well as slug. So he may be able to outbox. Like, you only saw Chavez really lose a portion of the Meldrick Taylor fight in his prime, and then Pernell, and then for the rest of it, like, he was pretty dominant. So I'm going to give Chavez the edge just on that one, but I'm sad to see my main man Marco Antonio Barrera go out at this stage.
Barrera's gone. Rob's right though; it would be a cracking scrap, prime for prime. That's what we go. Aussie's BRB, so we're going to have to sack him off for the time being. Number 2, then Andy, 2 minutes or less to you. It's a solid list, isn't it? Just imagine these fights. Joel Casamayor of Cuba against Azuma Nelson. Casamayor Nelson.
Oh, fuck. You I'm a big Nelson fan, so I'm going to go with him. Just ruggedness, toughness. Yeah, I'm going to go. Nelson beats him on points. I'll say I'll say razor close on points. Actually, I'll go something like 114, 112 or something like that. I think Nelson, very underrated boxer as well, and his longevity was fantastic in that. And sure, the weight divisions that he fought in. I'm not saying Casamayor is not a great fighter and stuff, but I just think, if you look at his resume, specifically at 130. I think it's hands down, without question, you should go to Azuma Nelson. I mean, the guys he beat, Mario Martinez, I think he beat him twice, Gutierrez, Pat Cowdell, and all that type of thing and stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely going to side by Azuma Nelson in this one.
Azuma Nelson goes through. Just a note on Joel Casamayor. I'm sure I've told this story on the pod, but I was in Cuba in 2002. Casamayor was probably at the peak of his powers around that time. And I remember him mentioning him to a tour guide. Joel Casamayor, great fighter. The guy just looked at me, the smile wiped off his face immediately, and he spat on the floor and didn't say a word. Obviously, Casamayor was one of the defectors, so didn't take too kindly to my love for Joel Casamayor there, Andy.
Yeah, well, obviously he's a staunch Cuban, whatever they are. I wonder what his take would be on like Rigondo and stuff like that. But then I like to get his take on Teofilo Stevenson, who refused all that money just to remain in the love of, was it 5 million Cubans or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, he wasn't.
I'd have been defecting as quick as I could. I took that money, baby. Fucking 5 million people. Fuck that. I'd have been straight to the bank.
Didn't they buy him a bicycle or something, I think?
No, it was a car. And it sat outside his house for like 20 years. It didn't have any appeals. It was Bryn Jonathan Butler, remember?
Yeah.
So Bryn goes to his house and wants to do an interview with him. He's like, well, it's going to cost you money and stuff. So he just slips $100 under the table and he pours this big, massive vodka and fresh orange juice. But it's like 3/4 vodka. It's just like slightly washed in with fucking quarter topped off with orange juice and that. What a mess he was in toward the end, like.
Tell you what, by the way, Bryn, yeah, just as you say it, absolutely fantastic. One of the best in the business, him. Absolutely brilliant. The insight he's able to gain from fighters that are normally reclusive, from Tyson to Rigo to Jones to Andre Ward, whoever it is he gets to spend time with. He manages to take them out of their comfort zone and really tell him all about them, which is a gift really that guy has. And some of the insights he's given on the pod over the years have been brilliant.
Andre Ward as well. I thought that was a really good interview we did with him.
Yeah, and that was the first time. It's
about
funny,
his mum and dad and that.
Yeah, and that's the first time that people kind of got off Ward's case a bit, like, and resonated with him a bit. Say, all right, maybe he's fucking guarded for a reason. Like, the guy's had a shitty life. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People were kind of berating him before that. Like, and when that kind of came out, then it became mainstream. And yeah, no, I just think Bryn Jonathan Butler, absolutely fantastic. And some of the stuff he did on the podcast, I think it's still on YouTube, as separate clips and that. Like, well worth the listen if you haven't heard it. Like, absolutely brilliant he is.
Yes, he is. We should get Bryn back on again. I've read his book on Rigondo. He's brilliant. Doing the Cuban stuff. Good lad. Is Bryn. Let's go on to quarterfinal 3, Andy. I hope you don't mind if I go to you on this one. I think you'd be all over quarterfinal number 3. Alexis Arguello against a man we've done in punches from the past. In the past against... No, it wasn't Casamayor, was it? It was... Freitas against... Who did he fight on the punches from the past? We did, no?
Barossa,
but no... Fuck, what do you call
Barrios, Jorge Barrios.
That's the one, yeah.
Jorge Barrios.
Argentinian Brazil. I was sort to get.
Yeah, it was a shame that fight was never sold out, because it was, even if it wasn't sold out, it was a great atmosphere. But you know who I'm siding with, and it's my man Alexis Arguello, the absolute master of the basic techniques: jab, right hand, left hook. I just think he would be doing it all night long. Freitas, obviously, fantastic jab, good boxer, great right hand, superstar in his own country and that as well. But I just think, looking at Arguello's record through the 3 weight divisions that he was champion, not once did he lose his title. I think he was like 14-0 across title fights over 3 weight divisions, and vacated each belt to got weight each time. So I'm definitely going Arguello. I'm going to say Arguello beats some. No, if it's a 15-round fight, Steve, I'm going to say Arguello stops him late. I think he can cut him up, stop him late. I'm going to say 12-round stoppage.
I agree. I think Freitas would last the distance in a 12, but Freitas was one hell of a puncher, but he tired as fights went on.
Yeah, exactly.
He got wild, didn't he? And Arguello would slot one right down the pipe, I think.
Exactly. And I think if you look at it as well, that Barrios fight, I think it was close. I think we need to go back and check, but I think it was close-ish. And that right hand stood Barrios up on his battle. Go back and watch that fight, guys. Yeah, that right hand that Freitas lands on Barrios, that you just see him. He just basically tilts up on one leg, and he's just like fucking perched there on one leg, and then he falls. But it was a fantastic knockdown and knockout, shall I say? But without doubt, Arguello, my man, without doubt, wins it late stoppage.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd be remiss if I didn't jump in and quickly give a shout out to my man from Wexford, Rodney Goggins. You'd love him, Andy. He was a world under-21 amateur and a world amateur snooker champion. But he's mad into boxing and old school boxing history stuff. But his 2 favourite fighters are Duran and Alexis Arguello. So I'll give him a quick shout out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch Arguello against Alfredo Escalera, it was a fight. I think it was the first fight in Puerto Rico. And he sliced him up, and done him even better in the rematch in Italy. Great fighter, Arguello.
Just briefly, Andy, going back to Freitas Barrios, I just wanted to mention a funny thing. Whenever Barrios was that badly cut, he grabbed the referee's arm and wiped his blood on his shirt so he could see again.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Actually, I just pulled up a notepad. Actually, I'm just trying to kind of look through something funny to kind of mention and stuff, but I can't get to the notes on time and stuff. But yeah, it was that fight. He's just like he couldn't see and stuff like that. So the referee tried to break him up. He grabs a hold of him, wipes it over the back of his neck. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Oh, it was a bloodbath.
It was innovative thinking there. Ozzy's back with us just in time for quarterfinal number 4. Ozzy. This one might be a bit of a bloodbath, actually. Talking of bloodbaths, Floyd Mayweather against Rocky Juarez. Probably could have found a better fighter if we'd have carried on than Juarez, but this is what Marcus has put in for quarterfinal number 4.
No, it's a fair fight. I think it's one that Mayweather wins and pretty comfortably, to be honest. I think Juarez, what was top amateur? I think what did he challenge for? He's probably one of the best fighters never to win a world title.
Yep, I agree with that. He was always he fought Chris John twice.
Yeah.
I think he was
Zahir Rahim,
yeah. I think he fought Marquez, Barrera,
yeah.
I think he's got Olympic silver. Numerous. He beat Barrios as well. Just to mention it, actually, just off the top of my head. Yeah, but I think we're talking Floyd at this point. Like, he's like, to me, this is the Floyd that I like to watch. Somebody who fucking attacked, do damage. Chico Corrales, for example, I think I might be in 135. Doesn't matter anyway. But at this point, Floyd's, to me, is his best version.
But I don't think he stops him. I think it's a brutal fight, but I don't think he stops him. I mean, durability-wise for Juarez, it was unreal, absolutely unreal. I think Floyd would have loved his aggressive style, boring forward. But as you say, Andy, this is the Floyd that he had decent power then as well, attacked. But I think it would have been. I don't see him stopping him. But I think it's one of them that Juarez probably would have been tagged a hell of a lot and took all sorts of shots. But Mayweather would have run out a pretty wide points winner for me.
Okay, Floyd moves forward to the semi-finals then alongside Chavez, Nelson and Arguello. Let's put him in the mixer and see what we get. Okay, wrapping Rob Kelly. Semi-final number 1 is between Julio Cesar Chavez and Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Oh, fucking hell. Hey, you better pick who I think you're going to pick.
Fucking hell. See, it's so hard with these two fighters because they had, one of them had an undefeated record, the other one had an undefeated record where he could have retired and gone down as the greatest ever, and no one probably would have been able to argue that. Maybe would have been able to argue his resume and a robbery maybe on it, but I think Chavez maybe. But the way, no, hold on though, do you know what? The way Meldrick Taylor fought Chavez, and Floyd's hand speed at 26, I'm going to say Floyd over 12 because I think if he got a lead against Chavez, which he could as a slow starter, I think if he got a lead against him, he'd be too cute to blow it. So I'm going to give Mayweather the edge on points.
Yeah, I think the Meldrick Taylor fight, Andy, probably holds, a little key to what might happen.
Yeah, and you don't see Floyd going El Macho like Taylor tried to do. That Philadelphia streak in him, wanted to prove that he was more than a boxer than that he could take it. He could take it to the opponent and take it back and that. But Chavez is in that fight all the way, man. And that right hand, left hook to the body. But again, you're talking Floyd again at his peak weight, I think. I thought Rob would have went with Chavez and I was kind of siding with Chavez as well at that point. But
I think like it's so difficult because you can say the only way that I can make this, and I know this is just a quick thing that we're doing, we're not going to spend hours on it or anything, but the only reason I can have for it is that the blueprint of the style, the tricky fighter, twice, once against Sweet Pea, once against Meldrick Taylor. Floyd is every bit as good as Meldrick Taylor. Some people think he's as good as Sweet Pea. I think he's just behind Pernell Whitaker. But I think, like I said, he'd have too much ring IQ if he got an early lead against Chavez, which is entirely possible when you see how he started in those two fights. I know we're going to let down the weights still. But I think if Floyd got a lead, that he wouldn't blow it. But I'm like Chavez is going to fucking rough him up, and he's going to bring it to him for the whole night, and he's going to be there right there at the end. And if Mayweather wasn't the real deal, Chavez would find it out. But I think if you're looking at Floyd, you never saw. Maybe Castillo won though, right? So then it becomes a different argument. I know that's up, but Castillo at the time was touted as the next Chavez, wasn't he? Like wasn't really as good as him. So if he was able to do that to him in the first fight, who's to know? So I'm just for the purpose of furthering it on, I'm just going to say Floyd gets the edge and wins it, but it's almost impossible to call it. almost impossible to call a player. Right?
Chavez is there all the way, man. He's there till the bitter death. Even if he's chasing the fight, he's in it all the way. If we're talking peak for peak, we're not talking the Chavez that lost to Oscar. We're talking about the man who was hungry. His peak weight was lightweight
and not going away. Not going away.
Exactly. So he's not yielding for anybody. I
think Rob's point, Andy, about the first Castillo fight is very interesting because I thought Castillo won that.
Pertinent point, because he also had hand problems by this point, Floyd, as well. There was times in that first fight against Castillo he was getting caught in the ropes, and that's where Chavez goes to work. That's his office. He was bringing the heavy taxes on Floyd, I think. Left hook to the body. Straight right hands were pretty brutal. I mean, I watched the Jose Luis Ramirez fight with Chavez earlier on the day and stuff, and that was his main punch. The lead right hand against the southpaw and stuff. I know Floyd's not a southpaw, but it just shows you as well, because when Chavez came out for that fight, Ramirez was a come forward fighter. So what did Chavez do? Give him side to side movement, move the head and stuff. So people maybe didn't really relate to Chavez that way. He could actually think himself way through a fight as well. He could box when he had to box, but ultimately he was a fighter. But for the best part of his career and stuff like that, which he learned in the pro ring, he could box and he could move and he could slip the head when he wanted to as well.
Yeah, I don't think any of these answers are easy.
So that's probably the toughest one we've had since we started doing that to split. I think those two. How the fuck can you split them? Like, just
anybody could build an argument. You're talking for 2 minutes or less in this one, Steve. Fucking 22 minutes talking about this fight,
No, I know. No, you are right. What about this next one then? Semi-final number 2, Andy. This is all yours. Azuma Nelson against Alexis Arguello.
Well, I'm going to go Arguello. Again, 15 rounds. See, by this point, I'm thinking this isn't a green Azuma Nelson like he was against Sanchez, for example, which was at featherweight. This is like an Azuma Nelson who's probably he's went through Jeff Fennick, Calvin Grove, Gabriel Ruelas. He's fighting Jesse James Leha. But I still think that Arguello's textbook style is going to be enough. He's got a long reach. I think he'll be able to keep Nelson, at the end of the jab, right hands.
Could punch too.
He could, without doubt, he could bang. But I don't think he knocks out Nelson. If he does, he would do it late, or it's purely an exhaust. I'm thinking like a kind of Salvador Sanchez type knockout. But I don't see Arguello as the same type of fighter as Sanchez. Sanchez could up the pace gradually as the fight wore on. He got far better as the fight wore on. I thought he had more repertoire. Whereas I say Arguello was like your classic 3-punch. Classic, again, I go back and say that, 3 punches you learn in the gym: jab, right hand, left hook, or if you're offered southpaw, reverse it. So and that's what Arguello was fantastic at doing: jab, pick the right hand. I mean, fuck, he made Aaron Pryor look at the lights up above the ring one night with a right hand. Fuck's sake, I think it was the first fight. But I'm going to say Arguello. He wins it on points. I'm going to say he wins on points.
Arguello on points goes through to the final. Then all 3 of the boys will get a pick, and obviously we'll clock it off. Whoever gets the 2 gets the victory. The final first to you, Aussie. Alexis Arguello against Floyd Mayweather is our super featherweight final. Arguello against Mayweather.
I'm not sure. I'm really not. Obviously, Arguello's long before my time, so I've only seen rerun, bits of highlights. Reruns, occasional fights. Andy's probably told me more than I've even seen. It's difficult. I don't think I can give like a fair answer because I haven't seen enough to even say who it is. Obviously, you've seen Floyd. Floyd's probably at his peak. Probably out 135. Excellent there, and truly, he attacked. Arguello, I'm not sure. I mean, it was interesting that you picked him to beat Nelson, who I thought was excellent, who was tough as all boots, attacked the body, things like that, mean left hook. I'm really not sure. You're probably best speaking to the other two, probably give a fairer prediction. I'd be kind of guessing in a way.
Tell you what, I'll give it a draw, right, and we might have the rematch next week for content.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Chukwu's jumped in on your behalf. Then he says, I'm going to shock people. Arguello stops 130 Floyd in round 12. So we'll have Chukwu picking Arguello on your behalf then, Ozzy. Is that fair?
I disagree with that one.
Go on then, Andy.
Well, Arguello, as I say, was a classic, but he was also very, very upright. And if you look at Floyd against Chico Corrales, who, Chico was a very, very tall super featherweight at that time. I would probably say roughly about the same size maybe as Arguello, and you look at how Floyd handled him. I think Floyd would toy with a kind of taller, rangier fighter and stuff, especially, again, as I say, a fighter at that time won't let his hands go. Hands maybe wasn't as bad as what they were up at 135, 140, 147 and stuff. I think Floyd would trounce him on points actually. No mean to say that he would have his problems with that, but I just think Floyd, at that point he could fight it out, but sometimes he could be defensively responsible in that as well. So yeah, I'm going to say Floyd wide on points.
There we go, one apiece, sort of. Rob, who you got?
Well, as usual, Andy takes the words out of my mouth there. Like, I was going to use the Corrales fight as a comparison, Floyd getting inside against a taller guy. I think his style is just too advanced for Arguello. Classic style, everything off the jab, straight up and down. As Floyd would say, no special effects. Well, he did have special effects. He was an incredible fighter. But I think out of all the fights, Chavez gives Floyd the best fight out of this. And someone else would have given him a good fight as well. But I think this is a clear decision for Floyd. I think, again, a decision. Don't think he'd stop him. Although he could have stopped him back then, because he was stopping a lot of people back then. He was stopping everybody before, as Andy said, he broke his hand. So, and he wasn't afraid to come forward. He was not that he was ever afraid to come forward, but he wasn't using that evasive style as much. He could do it. I don't see Arguello causing him any problems, a la Castillo or Maidana, which are the only two that really kind of gave him real trouble, apart from that flash moment. Judah to a degree, but again, hand speed played a factor with that. And Mosley, of course, caught him. But unless you're hitting him with the Thor's hammer and you catch him, you're not winning that fight. I don't think so. I'm going to say Floyd.
There we go, Floyd it is. Yeah, we're going on to Bellew of the Week, Sandy, so if you want to slide out for a second, you're more than welcome. For the record, not that anybody cares, I would have picked Floyd as well, but Arguello was a good fighter. Such a hard puncher and real good straight boxer, but Floyd would have found a way, I think, to beat him. So yeah, I'll go for Floyd as well. Jason Chukwu is desperate for me to read his list out. I will read your list out, Jason, but as everything on this show, it comes at a price. So you know what I'm going to have to do, don't you? Just before we do so, hold on.
I fell asleep.
There we go. Jason Chukwu, for the record, said for the super featherweight tournament, I'm going for Floyd Mayweather, Azuma Nelson, Alexis Arguello, Eric Morales, Kid Chocolate, Bobby Chacon, Julio Cesar, Chavez Sr., and Marco Antonio Barrera. Honorary mention for Gennaro Hernandez, Wilfredo Gomez, Brian Mitchell, and so many others. I've forgotten as well some names, says Jason, so thank you for throwing them in. Right, let's go on to Bellew of the Week then, shall we, for episode 379. Ozzy's still with us, so's Andy, and so's Rapping Rob Kelly. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Just up to the 20,000 mark now, all enjoying themselves on this Sunday evening. Our first nomination is for Jevon, who tweeted out during the week. Eddie Relentless Hearn, speaking on how he and DAZN are going to be tough on managers and fighters and gain more control to change the sport of boxing post-pandemic. No retreat, no surrender. Inspirational stuff here, says Jevon. Tommy Cahill has nominated the mighty Tony Bellew, talking on Sky Sports. He says he will jump on Tyson Fury, talking about Joshua, by the way, and he will not care about what's coming back. And at some point, he will land. Tony Bellew thinks Joshua will knock Tyson Fury out. David Almond has nominated Spencer Oliver. Here's the amazing results of my hair transplant after 5 months. Can't thank the British Hair Clinic enough, says Spencer. If you're thinking about getting your hair done, DM me for info. Eggy Phil has nominated John O'Carroll and John Joe Nevin. Rob, going back and forward this week. The cynic in me says Nevin maybe sees the hands of time are running out here and he wants to get a payday, trying to goad Carroll up into a fight.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go into it on this, but allegedly John Joe has other fish to fry as well in Ireland. He's allegedly getting himself into not great situations. So, yeah, I think you could be right there. A waste of a career for John Joe Nevin. Again, Olympian, a highly touted amateur, beat the best in the world. Only lost to Campbell in the Olympics in the UK. gotten medals, that disputes feud in his hometown, broke his leg, went to the States, got with the Dropkick Murphys, who I have my own personal history with that I won't get into on this pod, but yeah, no, look, they John Joe, it's a waste of a career, as I said, in the short time. Like a guy is just blown his pro career, and I don't know if he'd be favoured to beat John O'Carroll now, to be honest with you. I don't think he would.
Yeah, it's a strange situation, especially where Carroll has come from. We've gone through the Geraghty fight in the past. We'll not go over that again. Gary Kavanagh was one of many people to nominate Boxing Kingdom and Fannin Boxing. Tyson Fury tried to kill Deontay Wilder, says this guy, Fannin Boxing, with an incredible outburst on Tyson Fury, his team, and the Kronk Gym. Fannin claims from a hidden source that Fury's gloves were loaded. He was on steroids. Wilder's food was drugged, and they tried to kill him. Can't believe we're still going through this nonsense, but it seems we are. Hatton Bomb, knocking about in the chat there, is nominated O'Hara Davis, not able to work out the mathematics of Liverpool's league win. Darms has nominated Fannin Boxing as well. Gavin Stevens has nominated Tony Bellew. Tom Wise brought it to our attention. Bellew and Akinfenwa on the Sky Sports football watch-along. Bellew just described watching Bobby Firmino as watching an episode of Narcos. Nothing like a bit of racial bants to start off a derby, boys. The WBC have been nominated from David Almond for congratulating Liverpool on winning the title. Bit random, says David. Bombs Boxing has listed the top, I don't know whether it's 20 or whatever, most overrated UK fighters in no particular order. He's gone with Joe Calzaghe, Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois, Prince Nazim Hamed, Anthony Joshua, Josh Kelly, Ricky Burns, David Price, David Allen, Scott Quigg, Josh Warrington, Frank Bruno, Anthony Crowley, Cal Yafai, Terry Flanagan, Doe Chisora, and Chris Eubank Jr. I think he did a bit of trolling there, that lad. Anthony has nominated Fannin as well. Trading Leather Boxing has nominated Dominic Ingle, letting his kids play with nitrous canisters, making a bit of a, what they were doing, making some kind of a sculpture out of it or something anyway. JP at Smigger's Titties has nominated Tony Bellew for reposting a fake screenshot.
Oh, Smigger,
Serena Williams didn't say, Andy, go ahead.
That whale decided to break curfew and lockdown rules and goes and celebrates Liverpool's title win with his son, who, by the way, he pictured drink a can of lager. Age is like 9-10-year-old. What the fuck, dude? So you don't also break the law by breaking lockdown rules. You're also breaking the law by giving your son alcohol. What the fuck? In public, in the streets, you live like a fucking shithole. Fucking hell.
Come on,
your first title year in 30 years, by the way, you go and destroy the city, set fire to buildings and stuff like that. Fucking hell.
This is our fucking year, mate.
Bible of Boxing, The Ring, has been nominated by David Almond. Who would you like to see Oscar De La Hoya fight if these were the choices? They then listed out the choices. Rob, we don't want to see Oscar De La Hoya coming back, for goodness sake. Getting punched in the head is the last thing he needs.
Oh, is it? Sometimes you're getting what you're asking for, Steve. You know what I mean? Oscar can't need the money, surely, with all the fighters he's represented so well over the years and his career earnings. Surely, he's had a divorce, has he? The missus got fed up with the out of ring carry on, did she? I don't know. Maybe he's had a divorce in the last half.
I'm not sure if he has.
Who's that?
An idea.
Oscar, yeah, I mean, is she some sort of Puerto Rican pop singer or something like that? Really pretty woman.
She got kidnapped or something one time, or so. There was a weird kidnapping story, wasn't there?
Not guilty, Gov.
I know they said Oscar was going to get kidnapped by the cartel. Didn't he get threatened before the Chavez fight or something?
That's when the rehab,
Anyway, I don't want to see Oscar back in the ring on a serious note. Great fighter, absolutely tremendous fighter, whatever we say about his character or his persona. He was brilliant in the ring and fought everybody and gave up advantages to fight people and stuff. You know, he had balls for sure and is a legend of the sport. Do we want to see him back at 20? I mean, 2020 is crazy anyway, so he could be back. You know what I mean? Tyson's on the verge of a comeback, so maybe it's just the in vogue thing now for ex-fighters to do, to drum up a bit of publicity. But from what I could see, I get suckered in on these accounts sometimes, so I don't know what's real and what's fake. So, but it seemed legit anyway. The source that he wanted to come back. So, who would he even fight? What weight would he come back at? 168? I don't know. Like, fucking Oscar, give it a break, man. Will you? Give us a fucking break. Nobody wants to see you back in the ring, man. Relax, like.
Nah.
In and
around his prime, he fought Felix Sturm up at middleweight and he looked like shit, didn't he, with a little belly? You don't want him coming back and fighting Mike Tyson. Maybe he can fight Orlando Cruz, coming in looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's taken that many PEDs, maybe.
Still wouldn't mind to go. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see Oscar back.
No, we don't want to see Oscar back. Michael Hunter has called out Kevin McGee. His Economics nominated this one. Kevin McGee said, Bacoli would fucking obliterate you. You got lucky and you know it. Hunter said, obliterate, verb, destroy utterly, wipe out. And then he quoted, the memory was so painful that he obliterated it from his mind. He's quite clever, Hunter. I actually like him on Twitter. He's quite funny. And Mike Coppinger, here we go then, boys. Ozzy, you can have the first say on this one. Breaking news, Jarrell Big Baby Miller has tested positive for a performance-enhancing substance and has been pulled out of his July 9th fight with Jerry Forrest, sources tell The Athletic.
Jarrell, I've got an excuse for you, baby. In fact, I've got two excuses you could use, but I'll let Ozzy speak first.
Come on, Ozzy, sticking up for Jarrell.
Come back to me. I'm just brushing my teeth.
He's clearing out the PEDs. Go on then, Andy.
Yeah, well, he's got two options that I can think of here, actually. One is to do what the Miss Fooch did and claim that he swallowed a load that was tainted and basically come out the closet. Or he could come out and use the what was used for John Jones recently. But I think John Jones, the MMA fighter, came out with he failed a test, I don't know, about a year or so ago, and it was related to his previous failed test, and they called it something like a pulsing effect. So basically, his system was retaining something of this drug, and at some point it might just just burst into the system, so to speak. So there's two things that Jarrell could use to kind of get out of the sticky situation. But what a fucking mug, But shall we say this though? Tony Bellew, very very vocal on this situation. It was 0-30 when Dillian White popped positive though.
It's the same Aussie as Sky Sports Boxing, isn't it? They're tweeting out like mad. You didn't hear a frigging peep from them for about 5 days whenever anything happened with White.
So brush my tooth.
Has he spat and swallowed? He's unmuted. What do you think, Rob?
Man, listen, Big Baby Miller. His son must be fucking Superman, by the way. Son of Jarrell. Fucking pumped up to the maximum. Has he got kryptonite? Yes, he fucking has. Getting popped for steroid use. Seems to be the kryptonite of this Jarrell. Holy shit. Look it. I don't want to go all in on him. I did want to go all in on him, and I saw more than one person make a remark that he needs psychiatric help. So maybe when he was saying he was a bad man and all in the press conferences, he really meant, yeah, I'm a bad man. I'm going to cheat as much as I can. I'm going to put as much steroids in this little fat body as I possibly can to gain an advantage, and that's what I do. So good luck to the doping agencies trying to catch me. It's COVID time. He got that memo when he went, free pass, free get out of jail card, start again and cycle off. Well, unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to cycle off quick enough. And Sarah has washed her hands of him. So where does he go from here?
I'm sad to see that now, to be honest. Even Sarah's not backing him.
I was going to say as well, I mean, he's basically saying 6 weeks ago that the reason why he popped was because of stem cells that he received for some sort of injury he had right in his elbow, right? The other thing is this: can we also narrow down Jenny Fooch, his boyfriend, as to why she, as to whose load she swallowed and it was tainted? Clear's going to be fucking Big Baby Miller, man. I mean, considering what he popped for the last time it was EPO, steroids, and HGH, they fucking blew up the lab, man. What did she fucking popping positive? That is people are saying, well, she needs to swallow so much sperm to try and pop positive. Well, if you swallow that fucking amount, gorilla cum and tricepipate and all that sort of stuff, man, she'd be fucking.
The talkers and the smoky bacon walkers.
Imagine Miller did say that. Imagine Miller came back with that excuse that he did swallow something, and then they said that's fine, but we know that this was administered by needle.
You got anything for us, Oz, before we move on Jarrell?
Oh, I don't think there's much else that can be said, really. The guy's a fucking clown. I mean, it must be mentally that he just feels he can't go into, a fight without, taking something. And the fact that, look, he blew the biggest opportunity he had, which was a world title fight for three belts because of Peds. It kind of did him. He got a profile from it. Bob Arum's backed him on the way back. How the fuck can you back this guy again? The trust out. I mean, he's taking Peds to fight fucking no one. Absolutely nobody's. What is the guy playing at? In my opinion, they should make an example of this guy and ban him indefinitely. Fuck him off. Let's get rid of him. Let him go box on Bieber or something like that. We might see him against Scotland or something like that. But no, it is a joke, absolute joke what he's done. He clearly doesn't care. Will we hear from him? I'm not sure. As Andy says, what excuse is he going to use now? I have no idea. He's clearly no remorse.
Well, I think it's a dangerous game for the governing bodies because I agree with lifetime bans, but I think they're hesitant, really hesitant to set a precedent there where they administer a lifetime ban because testing is improving and realistically they know everybody's on the juice, man. Every single one of them. Even the ones that you don't want to think are on it, they're on something like somebody's on, it's like watching the Olympics, they're all doping like so. I think they're very hesitant to go down the road of lifetime bans.
Yeah. Good old Joel. He'll be back in the ring soon, no doubt. Anyway, Soccer AM have got Tony Bellew on. He's been nominated for that. David Farmer has nominated Kevin Gillespie for saying Price would smash Wilder to bits. Javier Serrano, here Andy, has nominated Chavez. I blame Canelo. What's he doing on this video, old Chavez? I think he's gone a bit bonkers.
Oh, God.
What does he do? So he walks in with the jeans up past the ankles, the high heels, a bag, and just walking like an absolute Nancy, so...
Who was that, Savage Junior or Senior?
Yeah, no, it's Junior. Come on, Senior.
That's what I was thinking. I said, holy shit, man, they must have gave him something.
Junior, no, but I don't know if anybody knows Raging Babe. Raging Babe on Twitter apparently claimed who's it he fought his last fight? Who was that again?
Danny Jacobs, wasn't it?
Danny Jacobs, that's who it was. She claimed either during the fight or just before it that he was actually a cocaine head, and this was the guy, right? This guy actually, it makes sense now to me because he went on a plane in Culiacan, go up to Mexico City somewhere, right? This is before COVID or something like that, or COVID was kind of like going about the place at the time, and he looked like shit. And this passion says to him, "My God, look at the state of you. You got COVID or something like that." And he went like that. I have. So that kind of tells you the kind of state he must have been in, by the way. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
He's on the cartel gear, him.
Oh, I coolly can. Oh, I.
Yeah, there's no hope for that guy. Anyway, Joe Kennedy has nominated Big Baby Miller as well. He also tweeted Serafina, who admitted that she has washed her hands.
You would.
Big Baby.
You would,
Oh, Sarah, yeah. Big fan of Serafina, me. She's looking for a job. She'd get her on here.
Ozzy?
Yeah.
Rob?
Oh, absolutely. Serafina in Quarantina.
Good one. Old Rob. He should become a rapper. Leonard Ellaby Leonard Ellaby has been nominated by Big Right Hook, who is a bigger draw at 30 and 35 than Tank. Not Lomachenko, Haney, Lopez, Garcia, Leo, or Shakur. Like I said, all can get in line. David has nominated Sky Sports as well for Joel Big Baby Miller. Joe Kennedy has nominated Sam Jones. Who votes? We see Fury versus White rather than the Wilder trilogy. I'll start the vote. I'm going to have to mute that Sam Jones. It's on my to-do list, actually. Trading of the Boxing has nominated Tyson Fury, another one of Fury's made-up events. He's been text messaging Dillian White, apparently, and he's put it up on his Twitter. Trading of the Boxing has also nominated Tony Bellew. You can use PEDs if you're my mate or if you're fighting on Sky, says Tony. Be interesting to see if Bellew commentates on White against Povetkin. I'm sure he'll have no problem jumping on there. Also, Sam Dorset. I know Miller has it in the bag, but Tony Bellew needs a mention purely for Tony's inconsistency on drugs cheats. Nothing when White failed and clearly defending Saunders' drug test. We know what Bellew is by now. We absolutely know what he is in the nominations.
Saunders, remember, he retired. Can you put that for Bellew the week as well?
What is that all about? Because I didn't actually watch the video. I saw it going about.
I didn't watch it either, mate. I mean, it's fucking Saunders at the end of the day.
He doesn't want to be involved in boxing if the only man he can trust is being hounded out of the sport unjustly. Him and Ben Davidson, the two of them, were pleading their case the other night. It's not fair that Daniel Kinahan has been run out of boxing because Billy Joe Saunders needed to do his contract, and if he's not going to be around, he wants to retire. So there you have it.
He's a knob, isn't he, Saunders? Flip's sake. Him and Bellew right up there. Any nominations from you, Andy?
No, really, mate. Kind of quiet week for me. Probably Big Baby coming out there yesterday. Bit of a shocker. Trying to think who else now. No, I've been kind of quiet. I mean, obviously, I think Broner had his rap album come out recently, and someone put out a review. Absolutely holy shit, man!
I listened to it, man.
Fuck.
I listened to it.
Did you?
Skipped through it, yeah. Oh, it's bad on the ears. It's like someone auto-tuned one of his fucking interviews. It's horrible.
The Can Man.
The Can Man, anybody can get it, you know. So apparently that was a big hit. I think that's it, really. Obviously, this situation is just kicking off on Twitter now between Eddie Hearn, Lou DiBella, and Armando Serrano. Katie Taylor's been added into it as well, so maybe get off here and go and watch the outfall. But Eddie loves his words. He plays on words and stuff, you know. So
yeah, I'm
going to go Big Baby though.
It's got to be Big Baby, hasn't it?
Oh, honest to God, man. You know, just watch his space. I can't wait to hear what the excuse is going to be for this one, because everybody's got an excuse. Oh, it wasn't me, Gov. No, tainted water. No, tainted meat. No, I swallowed a bad batch. No, I took up the arse. Sorry, it was this, it was that. Fuck off, man. I can't wait to hear what he's going to say about this one. Now, according to Bob Arum, it's one of the 3 drugs he's been done from. What I reading, it was steroids. So it's that GRW 15 shit whatever it's been done for. So it's that's put it this way. If he was British, and okay, the UK isn't fantastic. They are without doubt compromised. But I'm telling you right now, if he was a British fighter with his track record, that is a life ban. 4 years max at least. But I'm telling you, they would not fuck about if he was British, by the way. Maybe make an example of him and stuff like that, whatever and stuff. But I know certain fighters get treated differently, and you know the lesser known fighters aren't they? But I think with steroids, EPO, HGH, you know, that is a fucking booner.
What you said there, Andy, actually sums up my feelings on it. It's the way there's a few things around the drugs that annoy me, rather than the fact that people are taking drugs and get away with it or whatever. I haven't really got too much of an opinion on that because it's so widespread. It's the virtue signaling, the morality, the two-faced bullshit. Oh, it's okay if he does it because he's my mate, but if he does it, then I'm not going to, you know, he's an absolute drugs cheat and he should be banned from the sport forever. It's the guys saying they should never fight again when it's someone else's fighter, and then they're happy promoting other drugs cheats. They're crying because someone's died in the ring, yet they're happy to promote other people like that. That's what annoys me about the whole thing. It's the fact of people like Liam Cameron who get the book thrown at them, but the other guys who've got money to fight the thing can fight it. It's the hypocrisy and the virtue signaling that I hate about the whole thing.
If I'm a fighter these days, I want to move to China or move to fucking Mexico, because I know I can take clenbuterol and still pass a fucking drugs test, no problem, because I'm going to allowed to have a certain amount of this in my system, because you know I've got tainted meat. You know, these people, I mean, fuck's sake, I'm harping back again, but we've heard it all. You know, or it was it was a muscle supplement. It was a supplement over the counter I bought, something out of a magazine that I got. You know, so there's always an excuse. And you see, the virtual thing is it's just fucking, it just rages me sometimes, because, as I say, the Dillian White one is incredible. And look, don't take my word for it. If you know people, ask the quick and question yourselves. But apparently the excuse that was used by him as to why he got that shit in his system was because he was feeding steroids to his dog but via the vet, and he was feeding it to him via his dog food, and he was using it in his hands, he was mixing it together, and this is how he got into his fucking system. Seriously, that's how that is apparently the excuse that was accepted. Now you've got a woman fucking swallowing I don't know how much fucking man spunk, fucking failing drugs tests, right? And that's been allowed. You've got Canelo, you've got WBC flyweight champion Cesar Martinez, whatever his name is. You've got somebody else, maybe it was Burchell and that. Mexican fighters, champions, failing drugs tests but being okayed because they could trace it back to tainted meat. It's just an open season, and at the end of the day, is this? It's the person with the biggest and best bullshit story to come out with and beat the testers. That is what's going to get used. I mean, fucking hell, swallowing man milk and dog meat with steroids. This is how you're filling tests these days. Jesus Christ, man, just own up to your shit. Yeah, sorry, Goff. Be like Chael Sonnen, for example. When he got caught for the steroids, and they came back and they told him, I think his testosterone ratio was something like 12 to 1, whatever it was. And Chael Sonnen says, seriously, 12 to 1? Go back and retest that shit. It should be at least 18 to 1, 20 to 1. Basically saying, look, guys, you've caught me. Okay, I'll own up to it, but it's higher than that shit, man. I know what I should be caught for, but you didn't catch me for it. You caught me for testosterone, no the steroids and all that sort of other stuff. As Rob says, everybody is fucking at it. And we all want to turn a blind eye and stuff like that, but we go back to it and saying is, the day someone dies in the fucking ring and that drug test comes back positive, that is when the fucking hit ground zero and the sport is possibly going to get banned. Because you can't tell me there's not a neurosurgeon out there anybody can argue with that this sport should, especially in this current era of sensitivity and all that stuff, that this sport should still be fucking legal. These arseholes going to be fucking steroids with HGH, EPO. That's Lance Armstrong territory.
If you're not tough on drugs, that's fine. But don't pretend like you are. Don't I always say, don't listen to what people say. Watch what they do. Don't promote the people. If you're tough on drugs, don't promote them. As soon as anyone fails, instead of thinking to yourself, how can I get them off? What is the damage limitation we can do? Say, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's open everything up and see if this person is a cheat or not, and if so, or not use them. I know I'm living in a fantasy world here, but stop telling me that you're tough on drugs if you're not. That's fine. Don't lie to me.
Eddie's telling Gerald Miller at the time.
Not just Eddie either, because the others are just as bad. Aaron as well.
I know, but I'm just going to bring these two in it. So, for example, when Eddie says that when Gerald Miller popped positive, Eddie says, look, if you can't beat Joshua clean, just lose my fucking number. Right? And then what happens? Fucking Top Rank signs him up in a fucking, I forget the contract. He gets another opportunity. He was getting ready to go on ESPN. Prime time television. And he fucking pops positive again. You've got Floyd Mayweather apparently getting caught off fucking USADA, walked into his fucking house. Floyd's lying on his couch with an IV drip in his fucking arm. If you're so dehydrated, you need an IV. Why the fuck you take it in the house? Why not go to the hospital? That's where you meant to fucking take it. Not in the fucking house.
And that's the main example of why this can't work. Because I remember when he got popped for the Joshua fight, and I said there's going to never be a tough stance on drugs unless all the promoters who have the power in this make a gentleman's agreement to say if he gets popped with Jews, he's not signing with us. But of course that didn't happen. He gets a 6-month ban from the New York Commission, and he's back active. And Aaron willfully signs him up. So he gets what he deserves from that. Not that he's going to give a shit at his age with all the money he has. It's going to be a minor blip on the road for Bob Arum. So don't rule it out happening again.
Right, let's move on anyway. But Jarrell Big Baby Miller has been nominated by me and Andy. Have you got any nominations, first of all, Rob? If not, tell us who you're going for.
Just a quick one for Bellew. He was on about the fight camp on one of the YouTube interviews or something. And he first thought that the show ring was the real ring, and he said someone's going to get hurt here. You can't have a ring this small. And then he said, but when he realised it's just going to be great events and barnstorming fights. And I just thought, you fucking prick, you man, shut up. Company man, like, these are not going to be barnstorming fights, all of them, like, fucking hell. So just a quick mention for Bellew, but it's got to be Big Baby, man. And I hope he's well psychologically, because Ludabella said he needs a psych doctor, and so did Serafina, like, so he could have serious issues, and I'm sure he's going to be in a bad spot now. But what the fuck? All I can think is that, like Andy said, he was juicing so much the last time that the juice is still in him, because he couldn't be that stupid to pop for the same shit that he got popped for the last time to be still using it. How could you do that? Like, this is the 5th time he's popped in all sports, by the way, the 5th time. So it's safe to assume that he's been doping his entire fight history, like. He could have killed someone by now, so you know what I mean. It's dodgy territory. So Big Baby Miller for popping again, and that's what everyone will remember him for forever now.
Yeah. No, I see the guys talking in the chat, and that I hope I got my point across. It's not necessarily the issue with the fact that they're taking drugs. I don't really know where I stand on that because I don't have enough knowledge. It's the fact of the people who keep saying they're tough on drugs, and it's the hypocrisy that annoys me more about it. You know, if you want them to let them take drugs, then fine, just say that. Stop trying to make it as if you're all against it, and then you know, I've made my point anyway. Ozzy, sorry, Andy, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the testers are way behind these people. I mean, you've got a guy in China, for example, fucking making up this new batch. Ozzy watched the Icarus documentary as well. The lengths the Russians went to fucking to cheat the system. If you get someone just with a modicum of intelligence to fucking beat it like that, like a Victor Conte, for example, you go through for years without problems.
I've seen it before. I watched a video on Richard Poxon on his channel, and he had Larry Alabama on.
We had them on. We had them on as well way back in the day.
Yeah, and Alabama was on recently talking basically, and he said I'd come out and do it again. Now, at least he's honest. But he said that basically, if you've got cash, you can be so far ahead of the people that there are ways you can mask stuff. And as long as you've got deep pockets, you'll never be caught. And it's your own fault if you get caught, basically.
Well, here's a question for you quickly.
Yeah.
Here's one for you quickly. Is there an asterisk over this era when you look back at it compared to the entire history of boxing? Because we're pretty sure that there was no doping up to a point until it became a thing. And now, like, you made a point about it, Andy, about Floyd. Like, the Floyd we saw against Pacquiao, there was very careful PR going on in the build-up to that, if you remember, because Alex Ariza was skulking around in the background, and all of a sudden Floyd was back to chopping trees. That was his regime. He's chopping trees to get big to fight Pacquiao. And then it comes out after the fight that he had a therapeutic use exemption, retrospective one, granted by the Nevada Commission. So you think he's the greatest fighter of this era? There's huge question marks to be answered about him, legitimately probably about Pacquiao too. And the list goes on. The list goes on for fellas that didn't pop, that we know didn't ever fail tests or whatever, but still have had, shady occurrences. Like, so maybe there is an asterisk over this era, like, as the doping era or whatever.
Just on Big Larry, for example, we had him on the podcast way back in the early days and stuff, and this is staggering. I'm going to repeat it again. The only reason Larry got caught, I believe, was because he had bought his gear online for a guy in China, and somehow the American DEA got a hold of that purchase or whatever it was, and they alerted the British authorities, who then had alerted the British Board of Control, because I think at that point, Larry, I'm right in saying that only for British title level and above were drug tested. I think I'm right in saying that. I don't know if it's changed now, but I think I'm right in saying that at that point, that was the only thing drug test was ever done.
It's right, mate. It's right.
That is right.
2-0 pro, are you? Really?
Exactly.
A small old show in the back end of nowhere.
He got caught for 14 different PEDs. 14 drugs, man. Fuck me. 14 different fucking PEDs. And purely caught by buying his shit online for China. And that's where the Russians were getting their shit for, until the Chinese were getting fucking fed up, so they started then contaminating the fucking drugs. And so the Russians were then getting caught. So, always love fair and love and war.
Where did they get it? On Alibaba or something?
Well, listen, look at us now, man.
Came 25 weeks later, just in time for the fight.
I've got a fight coming up. Will you hurry up and send it?
Look at us now. We're fucking dependent on China for mobile phones, tablets, pharmaceuticals, PEDs. Fucking China, man, they're giving us COVID. They're giving us the fucking whole shebang.
All right, let's move on, boys, because we're going to have to finish up for the night. So everybody happy with Joel Big Baby Miller winning then, yes?
Without doubt. Without doubt.
Congratulations, Big Baby. Your Bellew of the Week. We took a few twists and turns, but we got there in the end, episode 379. Quick shout out to one of our listeners, top Patreon subscriber as well, over on patreon.com/Boxing Asylum, Steve Turton. He has his own podcast. There's a bit of betting on there, a bit of boxing, a lot of football. There's a bit of racing and snooker as well. My Conversations with the Pope, it's called. I was listening to during the week. It's very, very good. It's on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Steve Turton, Scouser himself. It's a good listen. Go over and subscribe now, everybody. Steve, hope you're well. Anything else, boys, before we get out of there? I think we're done, aren't we? Bit of Bean. Should we play it with? I'll play it with a bit of Bean right at the end. Thanks for everybody for joining us. Ozzy, Andy, Rapping Rob Kelly, Sean Edwards jumped on the call. So did Chris Jenkins and Luke Pearce. We'll be back again for next week, episode 380. I've been Steve Runnings. Thanks for listening. Goodbye. Here he is.
Bean! Would have been, could have been, should have been, never been. Baked bean, creepy bean, Beanie, Rumpelstiltskin. We're on to you.
Thanks, guys.